ESPN Major League Baseball Division Series is brought to you by FedEx. Now FedEx delivers on Sunday because the world works 7 days a week. Welcome back to Jacobs Field in Cleveland. And boy, you could not have asked for a better day along the lake. The last couple of days of September has that summer feel with the autumn tension. Chris Berman and Ray Knight for the first of our afternoon double dip here in the Division Series on ESPN. And for the first time since '95, a welcome back to the postseason for the Boston Red Sox. And this time manager Jimmy Williams will give it a whirl. His Pepsi lineup, Darren Lewis opens in center field. John Valentin, I think the key in the lineup, Ray, will develop that. Batting second, Mo Vaughn. Second in the batting race, third, Nomar Garciaparra, the shortstop, hitting cleanup. Mike Stanley returned in late July, the DH. Troy O'Leary, the left fielder, hitting sixth. Darren No Bragg, just back, the right fielder, hitting seventh. Scott Hatterberg behind the plate. Mike Private Benjamin is your second baseman, going up against the 22-year-old righty and a hero of last postseason with the High Sox, Jarrett Wright.
Yeah, Jarrett has that very good fastball, curveball, sinker, and changeup. The key for him is to get the curveball over. Speaking to Mark Wiley, the pitching coach of the Cleveland Indians, we know he has a great fastball, but look at that 87 walks. 7th worst in the American League. So he has to throw strikes. The problem is walking people and not getting ahead in the count.
He starts against the center fielder, Darren Lewis, who has slumped off a bit, but for him, a .268 average, about where you're going to end up. Very good center fielder defensively. The Red Sox do not run, but if he gets on, he's one of the few that may go a little bit. Jimmy Williams. This Red Sox team, you know, I know they stumbled in September and in Boston. Bragg grew up in New England, I know. I mean, you know, a 2-game losing streak is like a 2-month losing streak, but except for letting Toronto back in late, Jimmy says they played well at that time, or pretty well. They never really had a brain-dead 2 or 3 weeks. And he says, I like the consistency of my ball club, and in fact, they won more games than everybody in the American League than the New York Yankees, who were playing in another league this year. 2-2 the count. Ripped by Darren Lewis is a base hit to left center field. So you want production? Lewis starts off the game with a base hit.
The third baseman, number 13, John Valentin.
Mike Hargrove has his team in the postseason for the 4th straight year. 2 of the last 3 years, of course, World Series participants. Last year, agonizing with a 1-run lead in the 9th and the 7th game. Couldn't quite get it done. The Marlins won it. Undaunted, the Indians are back. Now here's John Valentin. For him, a .247 season, not very good. Valentin with 23 homers and 73 RBIs. He did have 44 doubles this year. And Ray, I think Vaughn is a given hitting this series. And I think Garciaparra is. I think Valentin, in my opinion, we talked about Pedro, the key player. Valentin's production on top of Vaughn and Garciaparra, I think will spell victory or defeat for the Red Sox. Are you agree?
I agree, because you have to be able to get on the base in front of those big boppers. Darren Lewis has been great getting on this year. Valentin having a big year for them, scoring over 100 runs. But Jarrett Wright, again, got ahead of Mark Lewis with the fastballs. 1 and 2 through the curveball. The curveball was not sharp, hung. Lewis laced it out to left center field, and everybody knows that Jarrett Wright has a great fastball, but he has to have a pitch to complement it. He's not going to get by with just throwing nothing but fastballs.
Strike makes it 2-1 with Lewis at first base, just underway at Cleveland.
15 out of 20 base runners successful against Jarrett Wright this year, so he's easy to run on. So this situation, 2-1, I would think that Darren Lewis would take off here.
Wright and Tomey think the same thing. And it's a good thing, you know, Wright and Tomey each with the High Sox, so they know their teammates.
Yeah.
They're not going to get confused in the situation. Jim Tomey with the football eye black. Of course, broke a bone in his hand, only came back the last couple of weeks. There goes Lewis. Ripped by Valance and a base hit. Lewis stutter step now decides to stop at second base. So the table is set. Lewis with a base hit. Now Valentin with a base hit. And here comes the big bopper, Mo Vaughn.
Well, the Cleveland Indians defense pretty much the same all year. They've added Cora there at second base, but the great shortstop Vizquel is the key. Look at that, 37 postseason games, has never made an error, major league record, numerous gold gloves, and generally considered the best shortstop in the game defensively.
Here is Mo Vaughn. 40 home runs, 337 batting average, second to Bernie Williams. And how many times, Ray, does a guy this size or this sort of hitter even contend for a batting race, not to even mention be in the running until the last day of the season when Williams went 2 for 2 and beat him out with 339.
Well, when you say this sort of hitter, he has always struck out 100 times or more, as he did again this season. That's not putting the ball in play a lot. So when he does put the ball in play, he somehow finds a hole or hits one so high they can't do anything with it.
Big ball in there for strikes as Dale Scott behind the plate.
This is a fastball inside part of the plate. Actually a slider. A high slider that was up in the strike zone, and Mo took it for a strike.
Right ahead 0-2. A little high, a little wide, 1-2. Dale Scott, the umpire behind the plate. Joe Brinkman at first. John Hirschbeck second. Larry McCoy third. And of course in the postseason you have 6 umpires. Dave Phillips, the crew chief, left field line. Chuck Merriweather, right field line.
Check this out, Chris. When Mo Vaughn makes contact, he hits 441. So
inside, the count now 2-2.
well, I really think that Jarrett has to establish that breaking ball, get everybody off of his fastball. He throws that fastball 93 to 95, but it has a tendency to be real straight. And if he cannot get people off the fastball thinking about protecting some other pitch, then you have people that hit him all over the baseball park.
Outside, so an 0-2 count is now 3-2.
It'll be an interesting situation here. I don't believe that Jimmy Williams will run in this situation because of Mo's propensity to strike out. Some managers will do. I think you're running into a possible triple play as far as line drive and get everybody out. So I think you just hold the runners here, let Mo hit. I mean, he's in scoring position anyway at the plate.
Hits this one to left field. Brian Giles backing up. Back it goes. Back. Goodbye. It started out, Giles looked like he had a beat on it. It kept going and going and going. Mo Vaughn has delivered his first postseason hit after going 0 for 14 against the Indians in '95 with 7 strikeouts. 3-run home run, 3-0 Red Sox.
Well, this is lightning in a bottle. Here's a pitch sequence. You see a fastball up, he fouls off, he comes back with a big slider call for a strike. Fastball away, and comes back with another slider, 2-2. Fastball away, and then a fastball up, out over the plate. Mo jumped all over it. Almost the same pitch he fouled off.
So that changes the plot unbelievably. Mo Vaughn, who ended the regular season with a 16-game hitting streak, we turn the page and nothing's changed. Nomar Garcia-Parra looks at a ball and a strike.
See what I meant when I said he was in score position in the
Yes, that was a very astute comment. I gave you the thumbs up as soon as you said it. Sounds like a broken bat. Ground ball to Travis Fryman at third across the Jim Thome, and the Indians have registered, after 4 Red Sox batters, the first out of the game. Jarrett was 0-2 to Mo Vaughn and then let it get to 3-2.
Well, he showed him 2 breaking balls for balls, then tried a sinker away, and then tried to get him with a fastball 3-2. And you're just not going to throw a fastball by these Red Sox hitters. They're all great fastball hitters.
Here's a strike to Mike Stanley. Remember the Red Sox a couple years back? Returned from Toronto late in July.
mentioned the 0 for 14 Mo Vaughn had in the 95 series. He had also 7 punch-outs.
Well, 95, when the Indians swept the Red Sox 3 games, the first 2 here, and game 3 obviously in Boston. Mike Hargrove's pitchers had Vaughn 0 for 14 and Canseco 0 for 13. So combined, the heavy metal was 0 for 27. There's been a change. Kind of like weather in New England. Don't like it, you wait 10 minutes. Punch the corner there, so right, all of a sudden, different pitcher punches out Mike Stanley. Now they're 2 outs.
Look at the catcher setting and shifting up outside Alomar. Another breaking ball. And he just actually moves his body back toward the plate and reaches out in reaction to the hitter there, thinking that he saw the ball well enough that it should have been called a ball. But big, hard-breaking slider, or slurve as you'd call it, in between the curveball and the slider from Jarrett Wright.
Working to Troy O'Leary. Count is 1-1. Troy, 23 home runs this season. 83 RBIs, a career best for him. Swinging to that pitch by Wright, and it's 1-2. All of a sudden, it's as if Mo Vaughn's homer was the wake-up call for Jarrett Wright a little bit.
Yeah, and Jarrett, he throws all of his pitches hard. He doesn't throw enough changeups, in my mind.
Yes, got a piece of it off the glove.
You know, even his slurve is hard. His fastball 93, a sinker 91, and then he throws a slider, a slurve about 84. You know, you have to have a little more distance between your fastball and your breaking ball or your changeup. You get everything coming up there at the same speed. It doesn't take hitters long to lock in on you.
1-2 pitch on the way, and O'Leary swings through it. So a pair of strikeouts by Jarrett Wright. But before that, a 3-run blast from Mo Vaughn on a 3-2 pitch the opposite way. The Indians will stride to the plate, knowing they have to make up 3 runs.
Dear True Value, after 3 attempts to install a faucet I bought there, your salesman did something kind of amazing. He offered to come and help do the job himself. The price for his services? A ride to my home. It made me feel great. And I think the True Value guy felt pretty good about it, too. Until the ride back to the hardware store.
Will you come back for dinner?
This curl, this smile, this tear, this look you know so well. You want to protect them with life insurance from a name you can trust, GE. Take advantage of GE's expertise to help protect this joy, this love, this hope, this promise. For life insurance and for every step you take in life, you can trust GE to help.
Are you old school?
Old school is vintage.
Hello's teenage genius does too.
The red, white, and blue ball, that's old school.
Roberto Clemente.
It's gone for a home run for Roberto.
I'm old school, Mike.
Mike Singletary's eyes.
Fair Five is old school.
Porsche 917.
Jackie Robinson.
Twilight doubleheader. Walter Payton. JoJo White. That's old school.
Joe Frazier, old school.
An explosive left to the jaw, and Muhammad Ali goes down.
All right, dude, you want to be old school? Call the number.
Welcome back to Cleveland, where the Indians have some work to do. 3-run homer by Mo Vaughn off Jarrett Wright, and the top of the first has given the Red Sox a 3-0 lead. Mike Hargrove's Pepsi Indians lineup, and he said they could erupt at any time. Well, now they have to. Kenny Lofton leads it off in center field. Acquired from Seattle late in the season, Joey Albacora at second base. David Chief Justice, DH. Manny Ramirez in right field. Jim Tomey, can you hear me, is the first baseman. Travis Fryman is at third base. Left field is Brian Giles. Sandy Alomar, worst offensive season for him behind the plate. Omar Vizquel, the all-star shortstop. against the Cy Young Award winner a year ago in the National League with the Expos, 19-game winner this year for the Red Sox, Pedro Martinez.
It was a front runner for the Cy Young coming into September. Still great stats up there. Look at those innings pitched. Over 7.5 innings per start. 251 strikeouts, very few base on balls. Good fastball, slider. A pitch sometimes it looks like a curveball that he takes a little bit off the slider, and one of the best changeups in all the business.
Pedro Martinez will work with a 3-run lead and start with the very quick Kenny Lofton. Swings at the first pitch. Nomar Garcia-Parra across to Mo Vaughn. 1 pitch, 1 out. Yeah, we showed at the beginning of the game that Pedro was really rolling along until the month of September. And the one win that he had was in the clincher. It was not an impressive win in the month of September, but I mean, here's a man that started 5-0, Ray. At the All-Star break was 11-2. Through August 1st was 15-3. Through the end of August was 18-4. So I guess he was human in the month of September. They get the Pedro Martinez that we saw the first 5 months. Cleveland has their work cut out for him.
Yeah, they do. 2 different times in the season, Pedro gave up 3 home runs in 1 game. He had never done that before, and that was when he was having trouble with his fastball. He would throw his fastball too often. And it's that macho man attitude that Pedro has, and what makes him a great pitcher. But when he gets hit, sometimes he doesn't believe people hits his fastball, and he keeps throwing it in there, throwing it in there, throwing it in there. And he's got that great changeup. So he got away from his changeup and his breaking ball, went all fastballs, and people tallywhacked him there for a little while.
Joey Cora lofts one that looks like it'll be out of play. Although John Bragg will give it a look down the right field side. Cora, for several years, postseason experience with the Seattle Mariners, came over in the middle of the season when the Indians began the year trying to make Sean Dunston at second. But anyway, here's the Red Sox team.
Red Sox defense, they're 4th in the league in fielding. Pretty solid defensive ball club. Balancing at third. Lewis in center field has done a tremendous job. No errors in center field this year. Has made 3 errors. They've been playing in other positions. But he is former Gold Glove winner, and you see him right there. Jimmy Williams says that he has made such a difference in this defense. He and Buford and Damon Buford and their ability to go after fly balls in these ballparks that are not symmetrical, got all kinds of corners, especially there at Fenway Park with that wall. And he says he plays that wall as well as anybody he's seen.
Count is full to Joey Cora. Hit to right field. Darren Bragg draws a beat on it. 2 up, 2 down for the Indians here in the first. Now come the guys who can hit a little bit farther than Cora. David Justice with his 21 home runs this year, and Manny Ramirez on deck, who this side of Junior Griffey for Mo in the batting department in the American League for overall is as dangerous as they've come, especially in the month of September. Here is David Justice. He certainly had better numbers than those, but again, this is a lineup that can erupt at any moment. Pedro works him away, ball 1. You get a 3-run lead in the first inning. Does that change the way Pedro came out here, Ray?
I think he's going to go right at people anyway. That's just his makeup, and it just makes him realize that he doesn't want to walk anybody, doesn't want to build innings by walking people, so he should just come right at people, let his defense work. He's got a fine defense behind him, and in that respect, I think it would make him even more aggressive to the plate.
Inside, 2-1. Jared Wright hoping for a better start to the second inning than he had in the first, when it was single, and a 3-run homer by Mo Vaughn. Outside, gets the corner for Dale Scott. And I think the crowd was kind of like us, kind of surprised at that one, but Dale had a better view than we did.
Well, the pitch before that, the slider looked like a strike to me, and this ball starts on the outside part of the plate, way up in the strike zone to start off with. That ball's way outside. you know, just from our angle, of course, our angle's a little off here, but ball started up in the strike zone and then ended up.
That was outside. 3.
Yes, that was outside. Got that.
I won't call them early. I'll let Dale let us.
We'll let him call him.
Well, he's got a much better view, and he's had a little more experience than me. We'll do it again at 3-2.
But what would happen to me right there, the 1-2 pitch that he threw Justice on the inside part of the plate was a slider. He did not call that. So as a hitter, I would think that the outside part of the plate I would have to cover if he's not going to call the ball on the inside part of the plate.
This one will fade toward the left field seats. Valentin gives it a look. It'll be about 7 rows back. So we'll do it again at 3-2. Pedro this year 2-0 in 3 starts against the Indians. ERA of 1.44 against the Tribe. That being said, one of the Cleveland batters that did well against the Red Sox this year was David Justice. He had 3 homers. This one, Valentin will chase, O'Leary will chase, and this is 2 rows back. So we got 7, we got 2. The next one's on the tarp. So 2 pitches from now will be in play.
But this is one reason Dave Justice is such a tough out, is he has the ability to spoil a lot of pitches. And he's also learned over the last couple of years to really drive the ball the opposite way. I don't know how many times this year I've seen him hit rockets right over the third baseman's head. When he was a young National Leaguer, he had a tendency to pull the ball and seldom hit the ball to the left or left center field.
Inside corner, strike 3. So Martinez a 1-2-3 first. We've played 1 in Cleveland. 3-0 Red Sox.
Here's something you should never do with your eyeglasses unless they're made from Flexon. Even after bending and twisting, Flexon frames still look and fit great. Feel free to fall asleep in your glasses. Feel free to squeeze your Flexon frames. Feel free to kid around. Flexon frames. Durable, comfortable, light. Ask for them by name. Flexon by Marchand.
Here's some hot news from Domino's. The new Domino's Heat Wave. The first bag that works like a portable oven, delivering hotter, tastier pizza to your door and a bigger smile to your face. Now a large with up to 3 toppings is just $9.99.
You heard about the High Endurance Deodorant Challenge from Old Spice? It's great at stopping odor. But what if you got to stop sweat? Well, now High Endurance makes a powerful new antiperspirant. A white solid that goes on clear. See? No white flakes. So you can stay dry without the white mesh you get from some other antiperspirants. Guaranteed. Or call 1-800-PROVE-IT and Old Spice will buy you a stick of yours. So take the challenge. Because this is more than just an antiperspirant. This is the high endurance of antiperspirants.
The predator lives alone. He accepts this reality as his cost for existence. Ivan Iron Man Stewart, 16-time winner of the Baja 500.
You change your oil every 3,000 miles, right? You don't, do you? You push it. Now you're so busy you try to squeeze another 1,000 miles out of your oil. Or more. Well, squeeze this. To do it yourself when you have the time. Reformulated Quaker State. Protection beyond 3,000 miles under any driving conditions. Anybody say insurance? It's been tested. And unlike that lazy uncle nobody really likes to talk about, it works. So go get some. Quaker State. Sensible technology. What more do you need to know?
The famed toothbrush lights, as they call them here at the Jake. You can look up in the right, over the right field and over the scoreboard in left center field. The lights look like a toothbrush. Jared Wright hoping to brush aside the bottom part of the Red Sox order here in the second inning. 7, 8, 9. Darren Bragg, Scott Hatteberg, Mike Benjamin. And Jarrett, after he gave up the 3-run bomb to Mo Vaughn, has been like a different pitcher.
Starts Bragg out 0-2.
Darren, a gutty right fielder. Guy will crash in a wall for you. What do you expect? He's a Connecticut boy. Wolcott, Connecticut. 20 minutes from where we live. Played his college ball, as a couple of Red Sox did at Georgia Tech. Fouls it off himself.
See, now Jarrett's starting to get in a little separation between his fastball and his hook. He was throwing that slider. He calls it a slur of 84. The first one was 79. He came back with a 95 mile an hour heater. That was an 81. That's enough variance to throw a hitter off.
Up top, 2-2.
And I think what happens is that first inning, there's so much adrenaline pumping that you throw the ball. Even you may not throw your fastball any harder, but you have a tendency to throw your slider and breaking ball harder. Even your changeup, just the adrenaline has a tendency to add 2 or 3 miles an hour to your changeup.
Well, one swing of his bat took a couple mile an hour off the changeup. 3-run homer, Mo Vaughn. If you've joined us late, that's why Boston leads at 3-0 here in the second. Went fishing on that one. Third strikeout for Jared Wright. Bragg will sit down. It's the Goodyear Blimp Spirit of Akron. It's down the road from us here in Cleveland, covering today's playoff game. This is the 73rd year Goodyear Blimp has covered the nation's top sporting events. So we thank the fellas, ladies involved. Bring you the pictures from Cleveland on a beautiful early autumn afternoon. Strike one to Scott Hatteberg. I mean, it's just like we've seen two different guys already in Jared Wright. You're right. Hey, we were a little over, at least I was a little over the top here in the first inning, too. We got to settle in. This is 1-1. Three-run lead will settle in. Not safe here.
Good hook.
Yep.
Still a little hard. That was 83. He tends to get most of his break when he throws that curveball around 79 to 80 miles an hour.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think that was the hook. That was the heater that just missed outside.
Curveball here.
Did not go, says Larry McCoy at third. Count now full to Scott Hatteberg.
Now this is where a young pitcher has trouble because Jared will probably throw a fastball right here.
Hatteberg sat on it. Pretty good ride to center field, but Kenny Lofton is there at the edge of the track. 2 out in the Boston second.
And my point is 3-2. You great pitchers, Smoltz, Maddox, Glavine, they have another pitch that they know that they can get over for a strike, whether it be the changeup, the curveball, or a sinker. Jarrett, 3-2, always goes to the fastball. That puts everything there as Hatteberg sets on the fastball in the favor of the hitter, and he juiced it out there about 400 feet, but just didn't quite get around on it enough.
Now the second baseman for the Red Sox, Mike Benjamin, up. Possesses some of the longest sideburns in the league. 72 average this year, way 70 points above his lifetime average coming into the season. Benjamin, a few years back with the Giants, had a 3-game span in which he had 14 hits, including 6 in one game. Sends us to right field. Manny Ramirez back. Yeah, that's a pretty decent drive, but Manny makes the catch. He'll roll the ball to the mound and then try and hit it. He leads off when we return to the bottom of the second. 3-0 Red Sox.
It's the Media One Free Preview Weekend, Friday, October 9th through Sunday the 11th. And it's a weekend full of great movies and specials from your favorite premium movie channels. Plus, special savings on great programming packages and a chance to win a trip to Universal Studios Florida, where you can ride the movies. Experience what Media One's TV services have to offer for free. It's the Media One Free Preview Weekend.
Welcome to Auburndale Cooperative Bank, a true community bank that's everything a bank should be and more. I'd like you to meet the people of Auburndale Cooperative Bank. These are the people who provide you with the best banking products and services available today. At Auburndale Cooperative Bank, we know you by name, we care what you think. If that's not happening at your bank, maybe it's time for a change to Auburndale Cooperative Bank, the Village Bank, local and proud of it.
Got a blimp right here at Bristol.
Really?
Yeah, everything was great until other blimps got involved.
2 blimps, 1 game. It was a recipe for disaster.
NFL Countdown, Sundays at 11, Mondays at 6:30 on ESPN. Cleveland, bottom of inning number 2 here in game 1 of the division series between the Red Sox and the Indians. Mo Vaughn, 3-run homer gives Boston a 3-0 lead. Hey, we got pair of 3-1 teams on Sunday Night Football at ESPN. Warren Moon and the Seahawks visit Arrowhead to face the Chiefs. Then Monday Night Football, 4-0 Green Bay against 4-0 Minnesota from Lambeau Field. Speaking of football, I looked out my hotel window this morning, and well, they're really making progress on the new stadium as the Cleveland Browns return to the NFL next fall. Welcome back. The Browns will be the 31st team in the NFL. That is built right with some of the old base, if you will, of the old Cleveland Municipal Stadium, Cleveland Stadium. So it's on the site. Dog Pound once was. New park, old history. As most history is old. We begin the second inning with Manny Ramirez. Manny tied a major league record with 5 home runs in a 2-game span here a couple weeks back in September. In there for a strike. He had 8 homers in that 5-game run. 6 homers in the 3-game run. Anyway, he had it up. He was hot. 45 home runs, 143 RBIs as a right fielder. Breaking the team mark set by the Rock, Rocky Colavito. Maybe that's one way to break the curse of Rocky Colavito, break his records. He's just a better hitter now, isn't he? Much better.
Much better, much more selective. Knows his strike zone much better. Just makes you come to him. That's the difference I see, and that's what happens in the maturation process of young hitters. They get away from being anxious, trying to do too much, to finally learning what pitch they handle best, and they zone in on that pitch, and they go up there with an idea every time.
Hit to center field. Back is Darren Lewis. Off the wall. Ramirez is going to be held to a single. One of the longest singles in the history of baseball.
Well, it shouldn't be a single. Ball's hit out there 400 feet, and Ramirez has hit so many home runs of late. He crutches this ball, but watch what happens. When he leaves the batter's box, he watches it, then he kind of trots, and then finally he hits full stride about halfway, but he's not running. He's just kind of jogging, running too late. You cannot take anything for granted in this game. He's hit a lot of home runs, 45, but I just don't like to see that. And that's a whole different situation. Runner on first instead of second base.
Well, frankly, it's inexcusable.
It is.
Jim Thome, the heart and soul of this squad, broke a bone in his hand, was out for quite a while. Richard Sexton did a great job picking him up, but Thome's come back and is certainly not the same hitter. Now, he did homer in his first at-bat when he came back, but he's thinking a lot. I mean, those were his numbers really almost when he got hurt. So, before he got hurt, he was pulling it. But that's an iffy part of this Cleveland lineup, and even Mike Hargrove isn't quite sure. He's confident that Thome will bounce back. Fly ball to the left, and O'Leary is right there. Ramirez back to first base. But he says if Jim starts to think a little bit, boy, my hand's not right, he's a thinker up there anyway, he could think himself out of some at-bats.
Well, it's the toughest thing to do is try to come back from a hand injury. That's the most important part of your body hitting other than your eyes. You know, you have to see the ball, but those hands hold the bat, and anytime you get hit on those hands or wrist, it's a tough time coming back. Even when you think you're healthy, you've not been able to hit a lot because you can't. That's one thing you can't work on is swinging the bat with a bad hand. So Jim told me today, told me that he just needs a few more at-bats. He's feeling more comfortable, but again, he just didn't get the bat barrel out on that ball.
Just Travis Fryman, who after years and years and years with the Detroit Tigers is now playing in his first postseason game. 1,242 games for Travis Fryman before he finally made it to the postseason. He celebrated by career high in home runs this year with 28 here with the Indians. The big reasons why they're in contention to maybe represent the American League in the World Series for the third time in 4 years. Of those who are active, both Sammy Sosa and Travis Fryman, all those games without a postseason sniff, wipe it off the board. Goodbye. Congratulations to the Cubs and the Giants last night. Marvelous seasons they provided everybody. They had a great setting last evening. Rip, but right and Valentin to throw across the Vaughn. Manny Ramirez is doubled up. So, should have been on second base in the first place. That wouldn't have happened. Shoulda, woulda, coulda. We've played 2 here in Cleveland. 3-0 Red Sox. ESPN Major League Baseball Division Series is brought to you by 10-10-220. Dial it and talk up to 20 minutes for only 99 cents. Well, they came to cheer the Indians. Not much doing yet. A check swing by Darren Lewis. And Jared Wright's going to lose it. A bizarre play from start to finish. Check swing, a check assist attempt, and a check put-out attempt. Result, Lewis on first base for the second time this afternoon.
Well, you said it all. Here's a check swing right here on a fastball, and Jarrett dives out there, knocks the ball down. It hits his chest, gets away from him to Fleet. Darren Lewis gets there, just no.
Nobody got a handle.
That's what you call it. What do you say? Stumbling, mumbling, fumbling?
There you go. It's a base hit for Lewis, who roped a base hit to begin the game and was aboard when Mo Vaughn delivered his 3-run homer to left. It's a little bit shorter, but just as effective. So Lewis has done his job again. John Valentin, who followed Lewis's single with a base hit of his own, is up. And then Vaughn on deck.
You mentioned the Red Sox not running. They're last in the AL with 72 stolen bases. Darren Lewis has 29 of those. And Jarrett Wright, as we mentioned earlier, 75% of the runners, 80% of the runners that go, 15 out of 20, have been safe. So I'm not going to be surprised if Darren Lewis goes pretty early in this count.
So the Red Sox, what, 72 stolen bases, Lofton, what, at 54 alone?
Right.
Hey, what about Ricky Henderson, another stolen base to the left off the series? Way to go, Rick. And he's returned to Cleveland this year, but offensively wasn't quite the player this year that he was with Cleveland in the past. They've had a few of those. Alomar, not the same player. Of course, Tomey with the injury. So they've had a few guys that have not. Justice has had better numbers with Atlanta and had better numbers last year with Cleveland. Has come back here. So not all the production for Mike Hargrove that he would have expected going into the year. The Manny Ramirez raised his dramatically. Count is 3-1 now to balance it. Mike Hargrove, the last thing he needs are more base runners from Mo Vaughn.
And 3-1 is a great time to send a runner here. It keeps you out of a double play. It also has your shortstop and second baseman moving, and you're also allowed to score on a deep double, on a double. Doesn't send him. Surprised me. 3-2. But I think 3-1 is one of the most offensive times in a game with a base runner like Lewis, a hitter like Valentin. You just create a lot of havoc out there on that defensive side of the ball.
There he goes, ripped by Valentin, nice play by Fryman, but because the runner went to throw across, and Tomey has to make the tag. Fryman with a sharp play, but almost threw it away.
This ball smoked. Valentin just jumped on the fastball, one hop. Great play right there by Fryman, spinning all the way around, looks at second, takes a look, sells the ball a little bit to first base. Tomey comes off, preparing himself for the collision. Not a whole lot of one there.
So Mo Vaughn is up with a runner in scoring position. Off a 3-2 pitch in the first inning, home run left field, 3-0 Red Sox. Mo with 40 homers this year.
Although this is just the third inning, Jared Wright will be very careful with Mo Vaughn in this situation. First base open, already gone deep one time. Garciaparra doesn't hit into a lot of double plays, but you've got to pitch Mo very carefully here.
Inside 2-0. 96 Mo at the 44 home runs, which means 2 40 home run seasons for him. Joining just 2 other Red Sox. Pretty good names. Kari Yastrzemski, Jimmy Fox. Hall of Famers both. Obviously. Mo gets under this one. Brian Giles shielding his eyes. Makes the catch. Lewis back to second. 2 out.
Well, Jarrett comes right after him. I thought he might go with another breaking ball. 2-0 fastball right there. I mean, right down the pipe. Mo just a little late. Strong swing, just missed it. A little bit of uppercut. Lags his bat, lays it off a little bit, causes that bat barrel to drop. Hits a fly ball in left field. Come on. But he did. He came right at him.
Nomar Garciaparra grounded to Fryman in the first inning. Fouls it back. So a little tail off at the end, and frankly made more errors than you might expect. Nomar still will get some major league consideration for MVP. As will Mo, as will, well, several others. Juan Gonzalez, I think you have all those RBIs and you win in the West, he'll end up winning it. Bernie Williams, batting title, although every Yankee was valuable. It's been an interesting race, actually, for MVP. I don't know, it's hard to really call that, although I think in the end, Gonzalez wins it. Yes, Greg?
You know, I'm going to have to look at it a little bit more. I thought Garciaparra was the front runner 2 weeks ago. Gonzalez with their ball club coming on so strongly. But I'm not real sure yet how I'd vote.
Nomar gets under this one in the infield. Travis Fryman, who's been busy, makes the catch in foul ground, and Lewis is stranded at second base. So we head to the bottom of the third here in Cleveland. The Indians trying to get something going against Pedro Martinez.
Hey there. Now I got something here that's downright fun. My new popcorn chicken. Crunchy morsels of tender white meat. Hurry down to KFC. Try my new popcorn chicken for $1.99. At KFC, we do chicken right.
They come from all over for the most agonizing test of endurance motorsports has to offer. The heavyweight championship of off-road racing. The legendary Baja 1000. Mile after mile of unforgiving terrain that can send even the toughest truck to an early grave, which means it can really be murder on a battery. That's why more drivers who tackle the Baja rely on the Duralast battery than any other. The same Duralast we stock at AutoZone. The Duralast battery. Power you can depend on.
My dad always said,
as soon as I get a computer, you'll come out with something better.
So to make sure people like Dad have the latest computer, we invented YourWare, technology that grows with you. For just $49.95 a month, you can buy a computer with an Intel Pentium 2 processor, internet access, and in 2 years you can trade it in toward the purchase of a new one.
What do you call this thing?
YourWare. Call 1-800-GATEWAY, and let's talk about YourWare.
We work here in the ESPN the Magazine shipping department. We really love our jobs, especially these days because, well, we're sending out a free gift to all the new subscribers. There's no time to lose. Subscribers are waiting. We need to send out these official ESPN the Magazine sweatshirts ASAP.
Subscribe now to ESPN the Magazine and get your sports the way it ought to be. Big and bold with unbelievable photos, honest interviews, previews and predictions, the teams to beat and the players to watch.
Ralph, please shove a sweatshirt in the box.
You know, I've always loved this shade of blue.
Get 26 issues, a year's worth for just $1 an issue. That's 66% off the newsstand price. And with your paid subscription, you'll get your very own ESPN the Magazine sweatshirt, absolutely free.
Wonder what lucky subscriber is going to get this one, huh?
No subscriber is going to get that one, Ralph, unless you put it in a box.
Call now, 1-800-682-1818.
There are hot tickets here in Cleveland as we begin the postseason. The Indians, bottom of the order, trying to scratch away at Pedro Martinez, Brian Giles, Sandy Alomar, Omar Vizquel. Indians have had a long single off the wall by Manny Ramirez. He was doubled up in the second inning. So it's been just 6 batters thus far against Pedro Martinez. It's 1-1 on Giles. Pedro said he would approach this game. Hey, I know the consequences of it, but I should approach it. I'm a pitcher to get guys out, come after you, and I'm not going to think about it too much. Easier said than done?
Well, I think after the first inning, once you get around that batting order one time, even into the third inning, you settle in, it just becomes another ball game. All the hype before the game and just the realization that, hey, here I am in a big game. I'm the big pulse that goes out there, and everything is on my back today. If I win, it becomes a home series for us.
Giles swings through it. Well, Pedro's only been a Red Sox for 1 year, but it come to New England, doesn't take you long to learn about a little history.
People are kind of, shaky about the way, about thinking if either we're going to win it or lose it again, or if the Bambino curse is still around. I don't really believe in any of that, but the people are really happy that we're going to make it, that we're in it, and they're also hopeful. But I can see some doubts in their minds, in the back of their head. And, it's all right. They're going to have it, but I hope we can prove them wrong.
He's working with a 3-run lead as he goes after Sandy Alomar, but starts him off with 2 balls. All the hopes are on his shoulders. They really are. You said at the beginning, Ray, he is the single most important player on either team, huh?
I think so.
See those numbers there for Sandy, just to go out of him? I mean, we put them up again real quickly. For him, and he's been such a proud player. Such an all-star. I mean, last year, such a magical year for him. All-star game and, postseason. Suffered through his worst offensive season, certainly since becoming an all-star caliber player. And he's, both knees have been, I mean, that's just not Sandy Alomar numbers, right?
That's his numbers when he was a young puppy, when I first saw him, but he really matured into a real tough out. A man that hit 20 home runs last year, drove in over 80 runs.
That's not to say that now it's postseason. I mean, geez, last year, 30-game hitting streak. MVP of the All-Star game with a home run here, fastest, right? Not to mention the home run against the Yankees that he had off of Rivera in Game 4 of the 8th inning. I mean, that changed that whole series around. Game 4, single, bottom of the 9th, won the game against the Orioles in the ALCS. Cleveland's looking for that magic. Not here, though. Pedro has struck out both batters here in the 3rd inning. 2 down.
That pitch right there just comes from a scouting report. Scouting report is on Sandy Alomar. When you get 2 strikes on him, go up in the strike zone there. You see Pedro does that. He knows him very well. That's a ball. But hitters have tendencies, and pitchers try to read those tendencies there. Alamar's tendency is to chase up, and he does, and he's gone.
3 strikeouts for Pedro Martinez, and that's about what you expect, about 1 an inning for him. Maybe even a little better. He has more strikeouts this year than innings pitched, which is nothing new for him as he faces the all-star shortstop Omar Vizquel.
Yeah, averaging 9.7 Ks, only behind Roger Clemens. 10.14 for the season.
When you can share a sentence with Nolan Ryan in the strikeout department, it probably means you've done a pretty good job.
Well, it also shows you that he's in the Johnson, Clemens, David Cohn mold as being an overpowering pitcher, and that's why I felt he was going to be the catalyst in this series. Because it doesn't matter. When you're in a 5-game series, if you match up evenly, which these ball clubs do pretty well, it's the team that has the dominant pitcher, and he is definitely the most dominant pitcher on these 2 stats. And if he can go and put together a couple of games the way that he can pitch, then the Red Sox have a heck of a chance to win this thing.
Vizquel lofts one out to the outfield grass that Mike Benjamin handles, so just 9 batters against Pedro Martinez through 3 innings. The Indians do have a hit, but they don't have a run. 3-0 Red Sox.
Catch all the football action with Circuit City and DirecTV. When you buy a digital satellite system and subscribe to 98 NFL Sunday Ticket and DirecTV.
Stanley steps in against Jared Wright. Stanley struck out looking in the first inning. Just joined us, Chris Berman along with Ray Knight. So glad you could be with us for Division Series Baseball on ESPN. Doubleheader this afternoon, doubleheader tomorrow. We go from there. Missed inside. It's 1-2 to Stanley. Jared Wright, I mean, you remember what he did last October. He's not 23 years old till December, Ray.
Well, if you ask anybody last year in October what young pitcher that they would like to acquire, this man's name would have been first. And you come up and do the job he did under immense pressure. There you see last year just being the stabilizer on the Indian staff. And had a good year this year for his first full season, winning 12 games.
They lost Mike Stanley here. Now we'll face Troy O'Leary. We talked about the baseball. Following us, John Miller, Joe Morgan go from Wrigley. A quick turnaround to the Astrodome to see Randy Johnson hurl against Kevin Brown as the Astros host the Padres. That is a superior pitching matchup. That's following us here. The Rangers and Yankees playing later on tonight at Yankee Stadium. So 3 games today, 3 games tomorrow. ESPN 1 and 4 o'clock today, and then tomorrow again Boston and Cleveland here at 1. Ray and I will be with you, and then at 4 o'clock the other National League Series gets started. The Storybook Cubs going to Atlanta to face the Braves and John Smoltz. Troy O'Leary struck out swinging in the first inning. Usually you figure Red Sox outfielders, Ted Williams, Yastrzemski, Jim Rice, home runs, home runs, home runs. He had 23 homers this year. Most by a Red Sox outfielder since Dewey Evans in 34 in 1987. It's just, you just wouldn't think that that was the fact. Swings through that one out of the strike zone, Ray.
1-2. All Jarrett has to do to become a 20-game winner is be able to get something other than his curveball and fastball over. He's not throwing a changeup today. He's throwing everything hard. You just can't win unless you're overpowering as he is, but consistently with 2 pitches. You can throw in the bullpen or come out of the bullpen with 2 pitches. You can close with just 2 pitches. But as a starting pitcher, you must have 3 pitches. He relies mainly on that fastball curveball.
O'Leary strikes out for the second time this afternoon. 1 out.
Very nice location on this fastball. Throws the ball right down the pipe. Set up nicely out there with Alomar here. Just a four-seam fastball. Look at all that rotation right through there. 94 miles an hour. He has a heck of a fastball now and a good curveball. But he needs to put something else in these hitters' minds. Remember Mike Scott? Mike Scott had a great fastball and a great curveball, but he didn't become a great pitcher, a Cy Young type pitcher, until he developed that split finger to get people off of this fastball. Let's see how long it takes Jarrett Wright to go into this ball game, go into this game before he throws something other than a curveball and a fastball.
Working on a 1-0 count to Darren Bragg, who he struck out to lead off the second inning. A lazy pitch up and outside the strike zone.
Well, I think that was a changeup. I saw Alomar wiggle, but it's too hard for a changeup. 85 is too hard for a changeup. Again, everything hard, and that's something that he really needs to work on to get the feel of that. Jerry's going to throw a little sinker away. See Alomar put his finger down and circle it. It means he wants a little bit of movement. When he puts that finger down just straight, he likes the four-seam fastball. Puts the finger down and kind of circles that he wants the ball to sink. The difference is four-seam fastball he's thrown today up to 97 as we look at Mark Wiley, the pitching coach for the Cleveland Indians. And when he sinks the ball, he
behind that one, 2-2.
We're going to look right here and see what he's going to throw in 2-2. Sinker. He's going to try to throw him the ball sinker down and away.
Do it again.
Watch the movement. Watch the movement on this ball. Remember the four-seamer. Watch this ball start up about thigh high and end up moving right down to the shin guard. Really good movement on that fastball. That almost acts like another pitch. The only thing is it's hard. Let's see what he calls this time. Fastball in. Four-seam fastball in. Right up under the hands. Didn't get it there, but it worked.
Got it done. Bragg strikes out for the second time this afternoon. 5 strikeouts for Jarrett Wright.
Now that shows you. Look at the catcher's mitt and look where he catches the ball. That's how pitchers don't have the control that you think they do, or either his conviction wasn't to go inside. But he missed about 3 feet there. Still got a good fastball, but that's what happens. Now that hitter says, well, he went up the way with a fastball. He didn't know that he was trying to come down and in with one.
Well, since the 3-run bomb by Mo Vaughn in the first inning, Wright has allowed just a base hit, 1 walk. He struck out 5. Another guy. He's a different guy.
Well, I just think this is a matter of getting settled in. That first inning always scared me when I was managing for my pitcher. And it didn't matter who it was, if it was a veteran pitcher or a young pitcher. Nolan Ryan, it always took him a while to get started. You know the trouble that Tom Glavine has in the early innings. Roger Clemens.
Scott Hatterberg. Now this is off Wright's glove. Over to Cora. He's done everything except fielding. Not that that was an easy play, but anytime the ball comes back near his glove, it's just like kind of a like the astronauts used to have the tang in the squeeze pouch. I mean, it just goes flying. You never know where the ball's going to go.
Well, he's jammed really badly on this ball, and Jarrett just doesn't react. I noticed on the first ball that was hit back to him that Darren Lewis hit that he kind of stood there for a second before he reacted. And he is not yet known, or I don't know of him as an outstanding fielder, and you can see why now.
Well, that wasn't an easy play, and now chopping at the pitch is Mike Benjamin. Travis Fryman across to Jim Thome. The only 2 hits he's allowed since the Vaughn's home run have been little squirters off his glove. Cleveland coming up here in the bottom of the 4th, trying to get something going, down 3-0. Yeah, I'm at the top of the first. 3-0 Red Sox, bottom of the fourth. Base just 30 miles south of Jacobs Field here in Cleveland, the Goodyear Spirit of Akron. The world's largest blimp is currently hovering 1,000 feet over the field. I know because we went out and measured it earlier in the wee hours this morning. Tape measure out. Here's the look down as Cleveland tries the top of the order against Pedro Martinez, Kenny Lofton, Joey Cora, David Justice. So the table setter in the true set of the word. Kenny Lofton is aboard. Let's see what he does down 3-0. He start to dance around immediately, Ray? Think so?
Well, Kenny's going to run if he gets a chance to run. I think that they're sitting over there with stopwatches and they know Pedro's delivery. He's always been pretty slow to the plate. Hatteberg has a pretty good accurate arm. You don't want to run into outs, so here in this portion of the ball game, certainly not with no one out. So I think he'll probably stay right there for a little while and see how the inning develops. Well, you can always steal second with 2 outs and let somebody drive you in. There's really no advantage of getting down there this early unless you're trying to create 1 run. Right now, the Cleveland, they need to put a freaking number up on that board to get back in this ball game. You know, when Mr. Martinez settles in and gets things going, becomes a tough customer to score runs. He gives up runs, you know, those single-digit runs.
I told you before, Lofton with 54 stolen bases, second in the American League, only to Ricky Henderson's 66. It's the corner, and the crowd, the Indians bench didn't like it. But Cora now down 0-2, which will allow the infielders to drop back.
Well, this is that great movement on that fastball, and he just kind of comes underneath that ball, gets inside rotation, gets inside the ball, and throws that ball pressure off of his index finger, and that ball just moves away.
Check swing.
Hatteberg actually, excuse me, partner. Hatteberg actually thrown out 32% of the runners this year, 39 of 120. It's a lot of attempts.
Can protect the plate pretty well.
Yeah, that's the changeup. That's the changeup. You see Hatteberg get nicked a little bit on that ball, and what happens, Pedro has that great changeup that he drops down on. He just chokes the ball back. He calls it a choke change. Look at the movement of that ball away. Throws it 80, 81 miles an hour. Just watch how this ball just moves and just the bottom falls out of it. Ball hits Hatteberg somewhere up around the shoulder. Doesn't feel too nice.
To short left field. O'Leary is there. And Lofton back to first. And you had the feeling after Hatteberg gets nicked, let's just go, right?
Well, that's what a lot of managers do. Anytime something weird happens in a game, they just turn you loose. Right there, it was his left shoulder. I don't think it had much to do with him throwing, but great jump there by Lofton. And he's just one of those guys like Lou Brock. His head was down a little bit, but touched the base, retouched it. Goes back to first base. Crack of the bat, looked up.
That'll bring up the number 3 hitter, David Justice, who struck out to end the first inning. Justice, the veteran of so many postseason wars, even more than the rest of the Indians. Years in Atlanta.
One reason I don't like for a base runner to run down 3-0 when you have Justice, Ramirez, and Tomei and Fryman coming up there. All these guys are double or extra base hit type hitters. So they're just as apt to drive you in from first base with the speed that Lofton possesses as they are to drive you in on second with a single. So 3 runs down, I don't think it benefits you much to get to second base when you have this type of thunder coming up behind you in the batting order.
Sky to the infield. Mo Vaughn says, I got it. He does. 2 outs. So Pedro takes care of dangerous David Justice, and now here is Cleveland's most fearsome hitter, Manny Ramirez. Manny singled off the right center field wall in the second inning. He thought it was out. He kind of jogged up first base, then realized it wasn't out. Couldn't get to second. He later on was doubled off on a line shot hit by Travis Fryman down to John Balance in the third. Had he been at second, who knows? Manny looking to atone here. In at third. Over to Vaughn. Ramirez is gone. So are the Indians. After a leadoff single to Kenny Lofton, Pedro Martinez still hurling the goose egg through 4.
Get ready for something that will change the way you use your wireless phone into the next millennium. Digital Choice Single Rate from Bell Atlantic Mobile. It's revolutionary. It's here. A wireless plan with no roaming or long-distance charges. Digital Choice Single Rate from Bell Atlantic Mobile. There's nothing better in the world.
Nothing great was ever done without an active decision. Still, it's good to be cautious, especially when someone hands you $1,200 in cash just for buying a Toyota Tacoma 4x4, or $1,500 when you buy a 4x2. Or they entice you with financing as low as 2.4% APR. Oh, you should ask why. But remember, no one has ever been blamed for making the right decision. Don't miss the final Toyota clearance at your New England Toyota dealer.
I'd like to tell you about a local rent-a-car company. It's called Hertz. I know. Great big Hertz at the airport. That's what you're thinking. But this is Hertz Local Edition, and we're right here in town with several convenient locations. So, your car's in the shop, or you just need one for the weekend. Call us. We'll come right over and pick you up. I know. You want to know about our rates? Well, pick up the phone. Let us surprise you.
Demanded better training facilities. Insisted on new uniforms and equipment. Held out for hundreds of free tickets. These guys will stop at nothing to get whatever they can for the Boys and Girls Clubs of America. Major League Baseball charities and the Boys and Girls Clubs of America, giving kids a world of opportunities.
Top of the 5th inning here at the Jake. Chris Berman along with Ray Knight. Beautiful afternoon here in long Lake Erie. Sure, 7. So far the temperature just right for the Red Sox fan. 3-run homer, Mo Vaughn, first inning. Darren Lewis single, John Valentin single. Vaughn with a homer off a 3-2 pitch to the left field seats. Lewis has led off the first and third with singles. Try it again. 1, 2, 3 for the Red Sox, and Jared Wright is 1 of 1 to him. We talked about the postseason. I mean, you forget that at the ripe old age of 21, started in one game 2 in New York after the Indians blew the big lead in game 1. It looked like they were going to get blown out of there. Started and won that game at Yankee Stadium and turned the Indians off back in the series, and they eventually won. which he did. Started won Game 5 against the Yankees right here. Started won Game 4 of the World Series and became the second youngest man to ever start a deciding game in the World Series when he started Game 7 down in Florida. Lewis down. Everybody out.
Trying to come up and in with a fastball. Because, you know, we've talked all year long about how ineffectively people have been able to have thrown inside. There's just been so many people nailed, ducked, balls just sailing over people's heads. It's just a lost art being able to throw inside. I just hate it when it starts getting up there around the shoulders.
Moved much. He's kicked his legs a little bit.
But Jarrett just trying to come inside, and that fastball just telling right on the earlobe.
Well, he just turned his head at the very end.
Yeah, and then just look at yeah. He's lucky it got him.
Half helmet. That might have half hit the lower part of the neck, but I don't think so.
No, I think it got all helmet.
Sounded like could have caromed off it.
Nonetheless, it leaves you woozy for a little while.
Now at least Darren is sitting up. Jared right among those most concerned. He's staring in and out. Well, first let's see how Lewis is, and hopefully he can continue. He'll get all the time that he needs, by the way.
Yeah, I think he'll probably be all right because they hit him square on the helmet. Those things are thick. I was hit on the helmet probably 3, maybe 4 times in my career, and it just gave you a little buzz just for a little bit, and then you're all right. Your head cleared up. I was also hit in the face in 1972 without a helmet. That didn't clear up for about 3 months.
No, he's being taken off.
Precautionary.
Yeah. And he'll be taken right into the clubhouse, and we hope that that's just as you described. Something that you're obviously going to be woozy, but that there are no problems, and we won't know that for a while. As soon as we get word on Darren Lewis, we will relay it to you in a hurry. So Jimmy Williams out to, I would imagine, Damon Buford, who also this other center fielder will go just right in. Runs well anyway, and getting spoken to by first base coach Dave John. So Buford will be the pinch runner, and 99% sure that he'll stay in the game in center field.
Well, you ask about that ball getting away from Jarrett Wright. He walked 87 batters, which was 7th in the league. Has had a lot of wild streaks throughout this season, so it was just a matter of him trying to come inside, and the ball got away from him up and in.
And he's inside again to John Valentin, which I think surprised him a little bit. So much for affecting him and wanted to work away.
Well, sometimes you do exactly opposite of what you intend to do. You start thinking about not doing it, and you do the same thing over and over again.
Looks like this has a chance to be in play. Tomey near the Red Sox dugout. He's in the Gatorade, but doesn't have the ball. Gave it a good effort, but the steps start pretty early there. It looks like there's a lot of room, but they're very wide steps. Look, 1, 2. I mean, you don't do this as a player. You actually could have gone down and stood on the second rung and made the catch, but there's no way you can gauge that, Ray.
No, he thinks he can get there by gauging himself on that last step. But you're right, it drops off pretty quickly in those dugouts.
So the 1-1 pitch to Valentin. Off-speed pitch up high, 2-1. Valentin singled in the first, was aboard on Mo Vaughn's 3-run homer, grounded to third into third. One word on Darren Lewis. Again, we have no early word from the clubhouse, but 2 singles and a hit by pitch. He was aboard all 3 times here in the ballgame as the leadoff hitter. Valentin to left field. Brian Giles over near the seats, and this one will be out of play. Posing figure of Mo Vaughn on deck. By the way, we were joking with John before the game. I said, you know, you're Campy Campaneris here. I mean, you're Cesar Tovar. Shortstop on this club when they made the playoffs as the Eastern champs in '95. A year ago, second baseman. This year, third base. Get this thing almost halfway done.
I think he's finally found the spot.
Well, really, it goes back to the injuries of Tim Naring. I mean, that wasn't necessarily the plan. Naring third, Valentin second. Timmy out all year. The oft-injured Timmy. So Jimmy Williams said, well, what about third base, John? 3-2 pitch. Ripped, but foul.
That also acquired Jeff Fry, who injured himself and been out all year to play second base.
Mark Lemke, the post-concussion syndrome. Lou Merlone over there. Donnie Sadler, a youngster on the postseason roster, as Mike Benjamin gets the start at second. Buford running, doesn't matter because the pitch is up top, and again there are 2 on and none out for Mo Vaughn. And the exact same scenario in the first inning. After singles by Lewis and Valentin, after being ahead 0-2, Wright went to 3-2, and Brian Giles looked up. We thought it would scrape the wall. It didn't miss by that much, but it kind of came straight down. And no wonder Mo is joking at the plate with Dale Scott. And Mark Wiley out to the mound to talk to Jared Wright and say, you know what? If that happens again, we are not only behind the 8 ball.
I don't think he's saying that. I think he said, Mark, you're rushing a little bit. Your fastball's way up. You've got to stay back over the rubber a little bit longer. Give yourself time to let your arm catch up so you can get the ball down. As you noticed, his last 6 fastballs have all been, chest higher up.
95, we said an over in the 3 games for Mo, half of them punch outs. 98, he's a better hitter. He approached it differently. It took 1 at bat to show everybody that he was serious. Hit by pitch and a walk for Wright this inning has 2 on for Mo Vaughn. 3-0 Red Sox lead.
There's a fastball down, and these pitching coaches, the thing that they know most is mechanics. They can watch you, and they don't have to have a projector or VCR there to tell you what they're doing wrong. It's almost implanted in their mind.
Corner, 1-1.
Interesting what Mo had to say about letting the game come to him. What he meant there is that as a young hitter, you have a tendency to go chase a lot of pitches, and you follow the pitcher and let the pitcher dictate what goes on. When you mature as a hitter, you make the pitcher come to you.
Hold him on that one a little bit.
Pretty good slider up underneath his hands. That's where you need to go with that. It's almost like a cut fastball under there, although it breaks a lot. You don't want that thing breaking down around his kneecaps or his shins, because he can handle that ball breaking down in there as most left-handers can. So when you throw that slider, you want to throw it right up underneath his hands.
Working away, Mo doesn't bite. 2-2.
Well, he's thrown the fastball away twice. He hit a fastball away for a home run. Both show pitches. I've got to believe he's going to try to get him out inside with that slider.
Good job calling the game, Ray. Didn't know this was behind the plate.
This is how he goes. Fastball away. Pretty good spot. Another fastball away. Then he comes with a slider in. So in my mind, you know that he's going to show him another fastball, then get him away inside. The whole pitch sequence set him up to get him out inside. He just showed the fastballs away. No intentions to throw it for a strike. And that time was better than Big Mo.
6 strikeouts now for Jarrett Wright. Now he'll face Nomar Garcia-Parrott. Grounded to third, fouled to third. Ripped to left, back it goes, back, gone! Can you believe that? Pitching, defense, 3-run homers. 6-0 Boston.
Earl Weaver there, right?
You got it. Figured he was out of the kitchen with getting Vaughn out. No, sir.
Well, he just jumps all over this breaking ball. The ball starts high, goes down over the plate. And just remember this, a lot of people think that if you throw the ball down, it's a good spot. Down over the middle of the plate is just as bad as up out over the plate. There was a curveball down over the middle of the plate, right where the bat barrel goes. And Garcia-Parra did what he did 35 times this year. Well, that's a serious tandem there in Vaughn and Garcia-Parra. And why Vaughn has had a chance to lead the league in hitting, because he has such a great hitter right there stacked behind him.
Mike Stanley, a base hit to left field. The natives are restless here at the Jake. Alomar out to the mound, and this will be visit number 2. And that'll be it for Jarrett Wright. Here it is, Ray.
Look at the curveball. This goes to a good spot there, but breaking down. Sandy trying to backhand the ball. It had such a good break, but Garcia-Parra all over it. Jarrett Wright.
Well, this was a no-doubter. Vaughn, there was a question. This was a no-doubt home run. Jarrett knew it, and he's gone. A pair of 3-run homers by the Red Sox have opened up a 6-0 lead.
It's like this. We like big engines, big tires, and riding up high. That's why we don't make cars. We think you'll see more of the world in a 215 horsepower Isuzu Trooper. Lease one for $289 a month for 48 months with $784 due at lease signing. Because the world is big, and cars just aren't.
Hey. Matt, got your email. Vancouver? Genius. Passed it on to Epps. He's running it through the Northwest.
Hey, Matt. Ideas a hit in the Northwest. I've got purchasing checking suppliers.
We want it up top. Client briefing. Your Vancouver idea.
Want to take your business to the next level?
Hey there. Now, I got something here that's downright fun. My new popcorn chicken. Crunchy morsels of tender white meat. Hurry down to KFC. Try my new popcorn chicken for $1.99. At KFC, we do chicken right.
Trains now go 300 miles an hour. Mail, 3,000 miles a second. Athletes continually break records. So how come pain relief isn't faster? Introducing Advil Liquid Gels, the first and only pain reliever in a faster-acting liquid-filled capsule that's gentle on your stomach. On tough pain, Advil Liquid Gels are stronger and faster than extra-strength Tylenol. Headaches to muscle aches. New Advil Liquid Gels. Advanced medicine for pain. Just got faster.
Roger. Jack. I'm gonna be a while.
Very quiet here at the Jake as Garcia Parra's 3-run home run has given the Red Sox a 6-0 lead, and Doug Jones. Along came Doug Jones in another light pitch with the Indians, back here with Cleveland, and he, like Travis Fryman, ending a long, long drought, finally getting into the postseason, and he'll work to Troy O'Leary and starts him off at 1-1. For Doug Jones, he played 722 games before making a postseason appearance, and making a quick postseason appearance. Omar Garcia Parra made his presence for the belt.
There's that speed limit ball, that 65-mile-an-hour changeup.
Speed limit out west, maybe. In the east, it's still 55.
Oh, okay.
A little behind here. Word, by the way, from the Boston, the preliminary word from the clubhouse, a contusion behind the left ear for Darren Lewis. Don't know what that means as far as availability or how woozy he is right now. We certainly hope he is coming to. This is lofted in foul ground for Jim Thome, who makes the catch. And O'Leary is gone. It's out number 2. ESPN 2's Friday Night at the Fights premieres this week at 8 Eastern. Features the NABF Super Middleweight title fight. You'll also see same-day coverage of Andrew Golota and Tim Witherspoon from Poland in a heavyweight bout. Plus all the classic fight footage and the latest news in boxing. Friday Night at the Fights debuts on ESPN 2 October the 2nd at 8 p.m. Eastern. Darren Bragg with a base hit up the middle off Doug Jones. Stanley will stop at second base. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 batters have reached base against the Indians here in the 5th inning. And just maybe, the Boston Red Sox, whose last postseason win was Game 5 of the 1986 World Series. Game 6 and 7, Ray, we won't talk about. 88 swept at the hands of the A's in 4 games. 90 swept at the hands of the A's in 4 games. That was the one Roger went nuts out in Oakland at the end. And then 95 swept at the hands of the Indians. 13, an unlucky 13. The Red Sox are awfully close ending that scheme. The man on the mound is good. They're looking for more runs here as Hatterberg looks at a strike from Doug Jones. Maybe the reason this is all potentially snapped. Last man to lose a game pitching in the postseason against the Boston Red Sox. When Bruce Hurst went the route in Game 5 at Fenway, game you remember obviously very well since you're a Met. Doc Gooden starts Game 2 tomorrow for Cleveland. Maybe they just needed to see something from years past to get off the schneid. And I don't think, you know, Will McEnany and Raleigh Eastwick are pitching anymore. I mean, they had to look at Doc. Maybe those were the vibes. Hatterberg slicing to left field. Brian Giles over. Will be in the seats.
You know, I'm going to just reserve my comments until about 9 for 2 outs.
I'm not saying it's the Cleveland Indians at home. They'll come back for 6 more days. And it is the Red Sox with 13 straight postseason defeats.
They've got a heck of a job.
Yeah. I don't think Mike Hargrove is feeling pretty good about things. Jimmy Williams has his ace on the hill. Red Sox looking for more. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, 2 on. Now at 3-2, everybody will be moving. Hatterberg, the pride of Yakima, Washington. School at Washington State. And he will draw a base on balls against Doug Jones, which will load them up for the number 9 hitter of the Red Sox, Mike Benjamin. Benjamin has flown out to right field, is grounded to third base. Jones is in there on the outside corner for a strike. Chopper that Vizquel will handle and go across to Tomey. The Red Sox leave the bases full, but not until Nomar Garcia Paris, 3-run homer, 1 up by land, 2 up by sea, 3 up by air. 6-0 Red Sox.
At Invesco, we know that before we invest your money with a company, we look deep into that company. We know with whom they do business, where they do business, and what kind of business they do. And we even learn a thing or two about who they really are. Invesco, a family of no-load funds. Over 65 years of experience, a global perspective. You should know what Invesco knows.
Okay, folks, what'll it be?
Sweetheart. A Pepsi, please.
We only got Coke.
Sarge, you fight for freedom?
Sure.
Freedom of choice?
Yep.
I lived my whole life believing in freedom. That everyone, man, woman, or child, is free to be who we want, live how we want, and choose what we want. No Pepsi? You might as well tell me there's no Santa Claus. Come on, Grandpa.
Where are we going now?
To a far better place.
As if changing your oil isn't exciting enough, you can now win big in Pennzoil's Under the Cap sweepstakes.
I'm a winner! I won!
Playing is easy.
I love you!
Next time you change your oil, just check Under the Cap to see if you've won the $250,000 home grand prize or one of 10,000 VersaPack power tools or a $10,000 home workshop. Stop. Go, Pennzoil.
Wanna be Americano? You were born in Italy. You try living alla moda. All you do is sing of
Tu fate americana, ma se nati in Italy, siete meglio che niente fa ok.
A view of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame right here in Cleveland, which is so much fun touring that. And the home fans are hoping here at the Jake that Jim Tomey, can you hear me?
Here's some noise. Vote for your team, everybody. Let's hear.
Tomey trying to start things off as the Indians step to the plate against Pedro Martinez in the bottom of the 5th, facing a 6-run deficit. Tomey, Fryman, Giles. 2 things. Of course, as expected, Damon Buford remains in center field for the Red Sox. Came in to pitch run for Darren Lewis when he was plunked and later scored, of course, on the Garcia-Parra home run. Let's take it from Cleveland's side first. You're down 6 runs against Pedro Martinez. You have to just 2 hits. I know they're an explosive ball club. What's their approach here, Ray, with 5 innings to go?
Well, they have to be able to make Pedro throw a lot of pitches. They can't go up there swinging at the first pitch. They hope they can build an inning. Pedro, on the other hand, will be coming right at him, throwing the ball over the plate, trying to get ahead, and putting guys away early to stay pitch efficient. It's tough to build innings without walks or hit batsmen somewhere sandwiched in there between. And Pedro's not a guy that gives up a lot of hits. So it's really tough on a pitcher of this caliber to build innings by taking, but you have to have that in your mind.
Fouled off by Tomey to make it 2-2. Now you're Pedro Martinez pitching with a 6-run lead as opposed to a 3-run lead. Any change for him?
Well, as we looked at the pitch count there of Pedro Martinez, he is just, Joe Kerrigan, the pitching coach, Pedro is just should be thinking one thing: aggressive to the plate, aggressive to the plate. Go right at these hitters. You got a 6-run cushion. A whole lot of things have to go bad for him to get in trouble. And just don't pitch stupid, which is get up, don't get behind hitters and give them pitches to hit. Just go ahead of them, establish the fastball, get a strike, and then work the corners of the plate, take the sting out of the bat.
tougher hand, like Tommy has had the broken bone there. Describe to the folks at home how that changes the way you swing, even though he's healthy enough to be playing, obviously.
Well, it affects everything. I used to have just little tender spots. I'd have every once in a while a cortisone shot in a tendon because it would be tender, and it affects you so much because you don't have the strength there. You just don't have the strength, and any time that your hands don't feel strong on the bat, then you have a tough time getting the bat barrel to the proper hitting position. You start cheating, starting using your hands more, the lower part of your body, starting your swing a little earlier, just because of the fact that your hand does not feel strong. The other thing is, as I said, not enough batting practice in order to get himself locked in. As you see there, Jim Thome, notorious pull hitter, hits the ball real hard to left center field, but he has yet to get that bat barrel out in the hitting zone. And it's tough to do when you have a man like Martinez who throws 95 and then takes so much off his changeup. You have to really kind of like think about hitting the fastball the opposite way, and then you pull his changeup.
As you described, Thome has struck out. Just 4 strikeouts thus far for Pedro Martinez, 1 out.
Well, this is just a great pitch here. A curveball or a slider after all those fastballs, 1 changeup. Look at the rotation of that pitch. Almost a true curveball. Straight, 12 to 6 o'clock rotation, breaking straight down. And that's a tough assignment there, buddy. When man's put 94 and there's a slider 78, throws a changeup 80. That's what I'm talking about. Mixing in pitches and just changing the look and the timing and offsetting the timing of hitters. 96, 78. How can you adjust to that? You have to think one pitch. You have to think fastball, right center field, so that you don't try to pull off the fastball, and hopefully that will keep you on the breaking ball. But look at that. Look how he buckled on that pitch.
And that, when he throws that fast, I thought that was like a 70-mile-an-hour.
Well, look at the buckle here. He's starting his bat, his legs, his left side has already started to commit to the fastball because he just saw one come by there, or just heard one come by there at 98. And 2 breaking balls, and you just have to go take a seat. But that's pitching right there, and that's what Pedro, why he won the Cy Young last year. He has the ability to come right at you. Watch the rotation of this breaking ball. Watch how tight it is. Just really tight, and the bottom just falls out of it. He swings right over the top of it, pulls him a little bit out in front of it. There's a changeup, 84.
Strikeout Thome, strikeout Fryman, now to Brian Giles, who he struck out in the 3rd inning, right?
Well, it's tough. Now, I'm telling you, toughest thing to do is to be able to hit a fastball 95 and then adjust down to something around 78, 79 miles an hour. You can't have them both in your mind. You have to completely center your approach on hitting one pitch or the other.
71st pitch, if you're counting, for Martinez right here. 2-2 to Brian Giles. Only hits of the game, Ray. A line shot ended up being a single off the right center field wall by Manny Ramirez, who was doubled up in the 2nd. And Kenny Lofton with a base hit in the 4th, who was stranded. Heater up and in. Full count now to Brian Giles. The Indians just want to get something going against the Red Sox ace.
Now, this is where Martinez, right now, I think he may throw him a changeup here, even though they're 5 or 6 ahead. He actually threw him a fastball, which is the right thing to do. But you put this ball game 1-0, 2-1, a close ball game, a ball game that's in the balance, and he's the type of pitcher that can go to his changeup 3-2 and throw it for a strike.
There's the heater. He is struck out other side. Okay, I'll take a 6-run lead, and I'll give you nothing. Boston leads it 6-0.
Boston Bruin Sergei Samsonov, born in Moscow, Russia. He dominated Red Army and Team Russia junior hockey, conquered America as NHL Rookie of the Year, mastered 3 languages, but still has trouble with one American word.
Free?
Nessun is your ticket to Bruins hockey. Order Nessun now and get a Papagino's Primo Pizza and a Boston Bruins ticket free.
What a country.
Commitment to customer satisfaction. That's what sets Tom Lyons Tire and Auto Center a cut above the rest. We've been providing tires and auto repair services in Waltham since 1953, giving you the best in service, value, and products, like the Michelin X1 radio. It gives you more control in more conditions for more miles than any other tire. Tom Lyons Tire and Auto Center, located at 210 Lexington Street in Waltham.
I'm a survivor.
I am a breast cancer survivor.
I found it when I was 23. I found it myself. Early detection is the key. You need to know.
Don't be afraid. You can do something.
If you have breasts, get them checked.
25 years I've been a survivor.
I'm in the men's support group.
Just talk about it.
Check your breasts.
Get them checked. We're survivors.
Lifetime applauds the fight against breast cancer.
Salamone Toyota joins in the fight for a cure.
For a battle with the Kansas City Chiefs. It's ESPN Sunday Night Football.
What is a Seahawk? Is it like a seagull? Is it a common animal on the West Coast?
Computer technology in the Seattle area may give the Seahawks a competitive advantage.
What? What are you talking about?
Computers, they may give the team secret strategies and such with data and feedback.
Ah, that's a bunch of bunk.
ESPN Sunday Night Football. The Seahawks against the Chiefs.
The Internet's the CB radio of the 90s.
Indians have a big climb ahead of themselves. They trail at 6-0 against Pedro Martinez as we go to the top of the 6th here at the Jake. And we're only beginning here for baseball. Kevin Brown of the Padres, Randy Johnson, almost automatic in the Astrodome when he came over from the Mariners for the Stros. The Western champs and the Central champs of the National League with John and Joe at 4 o'clock. Rangers and Yankees tonight on Fox, and then baseball tonight wraps it all up at midnight tonight. Busy week, but a labor of love for us. Believe me when I tell you that here at ESPN. We thank those of you that maybe had that little bit of a cough, you know, couldn't quite get to work today. Hope you're enjoying the game. Filling in New England thus far, they are. Damon Buford with his first at-bat came into pinch run after Darren Lewis was hit. And again, the latest report, he was behind the left ear, but we'll try and follow that up for you. Darren out of the game, Buford in at center field. So he has one of those interesting line scores. Well, now he doesn't have it anymore. Omar Vizquel over to Jim Thome went out. It's one of those interesting line scores. Never came to bat and scored a run. You know, it's one of those things. Now our in-game box score. Buford is 0 for 1, but Darren Lewis got on base 3 times before he left. Valentin aboard both times when Vaughn hit a 3-run homer in the first, and then Garcia Parrott hit a 3-run homer in the 5th inning. 5 for 11, top of the order for the Red Sox. 2 3-run home runs. Valentin is 1 for 2 with a walk, scored 2 runs. And he rips this one to left center field. Over quickly as Giles sold it to a single. And I know the big guys, Vaughn and Garcia Parrott, hit the 3-run home runs. When I spoke about Valentin at the beginning of the game, Ray, being the key guy in the order, he's been on base 3 times. And here comes Mo. The Red Sox won 8 of the first 9 games this regular season against the Indians. Cleveland came back to win a couple. And in the early going, Mo Vaughn was 8 for 17 in the first 4 games against Cleveland. The last 8, he was 2 for 25. But I mean, the last time they played each other was July. That's a long time ago. 1 up, 1 3-run bomb in the first inning. Doug Jones, that was the speed limit pitch. 0-1 pitching, 1-1. Jones, the second Cleveland pitcher. Jared Wright was gone after 4 1/3. Charged with all 6 runs. Doug Jones, 41 years young. Vaughn to right field. Back it goes. Back. Goodbye. Home run number 2 of the day for Vaughn. 8-0 Boston. Wow. He said 0 for 14 3 years ago in the postseason was a thing of the past.
Yeah. Change up. Fooled the first time, wasn't fooled this time. Waited just a little bit. Watch how he just forces himself to stay back. And once he makes contact on the barrel of the bat, that's all she wrote.
8 runs, all on home runs. John Valentin aboard on all 3 of the home runs. 2 by Vaughn, 1 by Garcia Pera. 8-0 Red Sox. Not what the folks in Cleveland expected to see today. Man, oh man. He expected to see that for sure.
No, but right now he's already thinking about tomorrow, thinking about what he's going to do in this game.
Joey Card and Tomey and Garcia Perez thrown out. Hey, we talked to Mo before the game. He said, I'm just a different sort of player.
I just honestly don't think in '95 I was ready to come to the playoffs. And physically, I really wasn't in a good hitting position. Really didn't have the right mental makeup in that situation. And I really think, honestly, going through that batting race, taught me a lot more about the game, about the offensive game, and to get a good pitch and let the game come to you. I didn't let the game come to me when I was trying to take myself and take my swings to the game. And you really got to sit back and let the game come to you.
Game has come to him, and he's taking full command. Stanley swings through that one, a 1-1, and he's talking a little bit inner self here. Not only a different sort of hitter, but a different sort of confidence, different sort of approach, different sort of maturity. Stanley strikes out, but more damage done by number 42, Mo Vaughn. Heading to the bottom of the 6th, 8-0 Boston.
The new Domino's Heat Wings bag works like a portable oven to keep your pizza hot and fresh all the way to your door. Call right now for any large Domino's pizza with up to 3 tasty toppings for only $9.99. Domino's, delivering a million smiles a day.
Okay, people, this is a phone, and this is $1. You still with me? Well, that's good. Now, dial this number, and all your long-distance calls from home could cost less than $1. That's right, with 10-10-220, all calls up to 20 minutes are only 99 cents. Talk longer, and it's just 10 cents for each extra minute. No fees, no contracts. Am I right, Poochie? Just dial 10-10-220, then 1, then the number. Bottom line, you get up to 20 minutes on this for less than this. You got that? Good, because if I'm not mistaken, I think nature's calling my dog.
A job doesn't make you old. A family doesn't make you old. Even a mortgage won't make you old. Regrets make you old.
A lot of folks in Johnson City, Tennessee will tell you when you need a part for your car, go to AutoZone. The parts are top quality, the prices are low, and the people are helpful, like Gary Jennings. You see, when it comes to auto parts, folks will tell you Gary really knows his stuff. Oh, sure, they know there are other parts stores in town, but when it comes to getting the right part, the right price, and good advice from folks like Gary, there's just no place better than AutoZone.
Everyone gets fresh flowers for an anniversary or prom date, but fresh flowers lack a lifetime guarantee. I take small True Value buckets and, with the help of my wife Punky, just a what-if. Put various master mechanic tools in them to form an elegant and useful floral motif my handier customers really appreciate. It's beautiful.
Pedro Martinez pitching to Sandy Alomar here as we begin the bottom of the 6th inning. Chris Berman along with Ray Knight. 8-0 Red Sox. Mo Vaughn has simply said, get on my back. Let me take you for a ride.
And what a ride it's been thus far. He said that all year long, though. I mean, he's always said that. When I was in Boston early this year and talking to the players, Garcia Parra told me that when there was a controversy about Mo leaving and contractual, some of the discussions going on, he says, we cannot lose Mo Vaughn. He is the heart and soul of this ball club. When riders come in here, he takes all the heat off of all of us. And he's well respected amongst his teammates. And I'd hate to see him leave there.
Hit by Alomar to right center field. Buford's going to slide, trying to chase it down. Sandy will head into second base. So the Indians trying to wake up a little bit with just their 3rd hit off of Pedro Martinez. Now we'll wake you up for some big-time football. It's a pair of 3-1 teams on Sunday Night Football at ESPN at 8:15. The Seahawks at the Chiefs. Monday Night Football on ABC at 8. 4-0 Packers host the 4-0 Vikings. Big-time games in prime time on ESPN and ABC, your exclusive networks for prime-time NFL football. Omar Vizquel, number 9 hitter, will step up against Pedro Martinez. Pedro has given up 3 hits, struck out 6 in 5 innings plus of work. Well, you got your 3 big stars on the Red Sox: Vaughn, Garcia Parra, Pedro Martinez. They're all in the first paragraph if the game story were to be written right now. If it were to be written now.
Hey, if they're going to win and advance, those 3 names will be there written. Not that they don't have other bit players in this ball club, but as Mo goes out and talks to Pedro, probably says, hey, just go right down the middle, throw strikes, don't worry about anything, let us catch the ball out here. And there's another indication of the value Mo Vaughn has at this ball club.
Two and one to Omar Vizquel, who popped to second base. Back in the 3rd inning. Hit pretty well to center field, but Buford is there. Alomar not going anywhere, and there is 1 out. More information about Goodyear and its fleet of blimps. Goodness, you can log onto the internet. www.goodyear.com. I did not know that. I don't know how to log on the internet, so it's moved to me. I'm still at the on-ramp, the stop sign at the on-ramp, the information highway, personally, but the new millennium is coming, and I'll get along with the rest of the program very shortly now. Kenny Lofton, 1 for 2. Balancing in, just in case Lofton wants to drop one down. The pitching line thus far for Pedro Martinez.
Not too many blemishes there.
Not many. 3 hits, 6 Ks, no walks. Most important, no runs. 2-9 to Lofton, 2-1. When you have this big a lead, even a pitcher in the Pedro Martinez class, can you lose concentration just a bit?
I don't think so. I think that there is such an elite group that they pitch the same way.
O'Leary went over, ended up with a good deal.
And, I mean, I'm just sitting here thinking that, watching Pedro as he takes a sign from Hattiesburg. You know, the great pitchers that I played with that knew how to win, the Don Suttons and the Nolan Ryans and the Tom Seavers, the Dwight Goodens in his prime. It didn't make any difference if it was 1-0 or 5-0. They gave you everything they had. They were smart. They became more pitch efficient when they got big leads like this. But still, they got ahead of you with a fastball, made a pitch, and you have to realize, too, that these men have the innate ability to throw the ball and locate it to spots. And by locating the ball to spots, it takes the sting, or puts sting to the bat. So they just pretty much one word, relentless. Doesn't look like to me he's lost any concentration looking at him.
Just wondering if it could happen, although the great ones.
Well, I've seen it happen, but the great ones, it seldom happens to. It seems to be the middle line pitchers that somehow cannot stay focused through, 27 outs. Pedro, his track record tells me he doesn't have any problem staying focused.
3-2 now to Lofton.
Chris, when we get back to that postseason experience situation that we're so often questioned about, we talked about it earlier in our open, and I do believe it's really important for a lot of people. But Pedro has had so much success now in both leagues, there's no doubt in his mind that he can pitch.
So you're talking about, postseason experience. How about the experience of having a 3-run lead before you even have to throw your first pitch?
Well,
I think that'll help an awful lot.
Yeah, that'll change it a little bit.
Yeah. Drums beating. The Indians just to try to get something going. Lofton hits it deep to right. Back goes Bragg. Back. Home run. You can't get 8 floors up in a building by going 8 floors at once. Here's 2 of them done. 2-run home run for Kenny Lofton. And it's an 8-2 game.
Just a great at-bat. Fastball right there. Had to challenge him to hold at bat. Kenny Lofton made this happen just by fighting off pitches, spoiling pitches, getting deep into the count, forcing a better and better pitch until he got one that he could do something with. But Pedro pitched him as tough as he could. That was just one time that the hitter bested the pitcher.
Here, all 10 runs have come courtesy of long ball. First postseason home run for Lofton, as you just saw. I mean, Kenny, who did have 12 homers this year, ended the game with just 56 career home runs. I didn't expect him to go deep for Cleveland, but at least a couple of smiles there on the bench. They feel maybe a couple, another run or two, make it interesting again. A long way to go, but got to start somewhere. Joey Cora looking at an 0-2 count. He's flown out to right, flown out to left. Cora to right field. Darren Bragg near the line makes the catch. 2 outs. and calming down from John Valentin. Beautiful day here in Cleveland, but it's the beautiful day on the field that belonged to Boston. $3.4 million this year. Another stellar season for Indians fans. Games sell out. Standing room area, which is pretty much full every game as well. David Justice swings through that one, 1-1. Justice rips it, but right there is Mike Benjamin. So the Indians finally get their timing down against Pedro Martinez. Lofton, a 2-run homer. It's an 8-2 game at the end of 6.
My cousin Al still swears he never gets enough to eat. So tonight we took him back to the Olive Garden for more of their never-ending pasta bowl. It's any special pasta you like, with all the free refills you want, plus all the salad and breadsticks for $6.95. The Olive Garden. When you're here, you're family.
Life is unpredictable. Sometimes you need health insurance. Sometimes you need life insurance. And sometimes...
Simone, è per te.
You need investments for the future. So at the Conseco Companies, our goal is to help you protect wealth, create wealth for life.
This ain't Altoona or Pawtucket, kid, no. Now you're pouring beer in the show. Not just any beer, either. We're talking big leagues, kid. We're talking Coors Light. Wearing this tray out there is like waving a red flag at a bull. 40,000 thirsty fans looking for the coldest beer around. The Rocky Mountain Refreshment of frost-brewed Coors Light. Think you can handle it, kid?
Yeah.
Hey,
Rookies. Here in America, home means different things to different people. But we're pretty much agreed on what it means to own a home. It has something to do with stronger communities, safer streets, better schools, and the hopes and dreams that America was built on. So whatever home means, one thing's certain, it's a lot more than just 4 walls and a roof. For a free guide that can help you on the path to home ownership, call the Fannie Mae Foundation.
When I was a kid, I remember going to the Boys and Girls Club. There was this one teacher.
That's great, Frank.
Miss Franklin. She always encouraged me.
Right. Come on, Frank. You can do it.
Especially when it came to baseball. It was a great experience.
There you go.
That's why I'm glad I can give something back to the Boys and Girls Club. Especially to Miss Franklin.
Come on, Miss Franklin, you can do it. Come on. Here we go. Let's make this play.
Major League Baseball charities and the Boys and Girls Clubs of America, giving kids a world of opportunities.
Top of the 7th here at the J. Chris Berman along with Ray Knight. It's been a home run fest. 2 for Mo Vaughn, a 3-run and a 2-run shot. A 3-run shot for Nomar Garcia-Parra and Kenny Lofton with a 2-run homer. That's where we stay at 8-2. Troy O'Leary flies out to center field. Lofton makes the play, and Ray, like we were saying, on a beautiful afternoon here in Cleveland, these things have been flying out of the yard.
I know those things are, they talk about them being wrapped. Those are a little smaller.
Yeah, that's why they went.
Yeah. But it has been something. Pedro throwing the ball extremely well. Jarrett Wright making some mistakes. And not too much what I didn't expect, though, with Pedro throwing the ball extremely well.
I tell you what, though, the statement made by Mo Vaughn, and he's not alone, but first inning, I want to go back to the 1990 World Series. And look, we're a long way to go, and no team can come back the way Cleveland does. I mean, you just asked the Yankees last year. But the 1990 World Series, when in the first inning was at Cincinnati, and the Oakland A's came in, defending champs, great Dave Stewart on the mound. Eric Davis hit a home run off of Dave Stewart in the first inning, and that was the end of the series. I mean, it wasn't that easy. It changed everything in their first at-bat. Lofton, kind of went every which way but loose on that ball by Bragg, and he's made both putouts this city. But you and I were there together for that.
Yes,
took us out to Montgomery Ribs, I think, the night before. And remember that? It was as if the invincibility of the A's, which was a little different scenario than here, but it was the questions that the Reds might have had about themselves against another team, or in the Red Sox case, battling all this history of 13 straight postseason losses, and ba-boom, first inning, everything changed. It's possible that could be the case here. We may look back on it.
And I can tell you another thing. We're down 2-0 to the Red Sox going into Fenway Park. Lenny Dykstra hits a home run first inning, first hitter, and all of a sudden we had instant attitude change. Shoot, after getting 2 down at Shea, we didn't know what to do. I mean, we were shell-shocked, and Lenny got us out of that with just one bomb. So you're right, it can turn you around, but it doesn't mean that the series is over. It means you certainly put a serious dent in somebody's attitude on that day. But you know, one swing of the bat can turn things around in a hurry, especially that early in the ball game.
Good play made by a fan down below on the foul ball off the bat of Scott Hatteberg. Kenny's homered, now made the next 2 putouts. Fouled it back. Hatteberg's been aboard 2 or 3 times. He's singled and walked. Ballham with 5 RBIs. Garcia Farrer with 3 RBIs. Valentin with 3 runs scored. And Hatteberg lofts it to right field. So Doug Jones, 3 fly ball outs for him. Ramirez squeezes it. 7th inning stretch time here in Cleveland with the fans looking for some ketchup and mustard and 6 runs. And Major League Baseball Division Series is brought to you by the all-new BMW 3 Series. Everything your car does well, it does brilliantly. And by Flexon, the flexible eyeglass frame. Bottom of the 7th here at Cleveland with the Tribe looking way up at the Red Sox 8-2 lead. But they got 2 off Pedro Martinez in the 6th. Can Manny Ramirez, Jim Thome, and Travis Fryman inch a little closer here in the 7th? Tomorrow afternoon, just as they get used to some 95-plus heat of Pedro Martinez, the Indians will face knuckleballer Tim Wakefield. Cleveland will counter with Doc Gooden. Then a travel day Thursday. Friday they go to Boston. Brent Saberhagen, who by the way is the only man younger than Jared Wright to ever start a deciding World Series game. That was back in '85, of course, with the Royals. He'll go for Boston and Fenway on Friday against New England native Charlie Nagy, who has had good success at Fenway Park and good success against the Red Sox. That's your pitching matchups thus far. We talked about Shorrock if there's a game 4, the left for Boston. We talked about Cologne, game 4 for Cleveland, but that could all change depending on the scenario. Ball 1 to Manny Ramirez. Manny is 1 for 2 with a single off the right center field wall in the 2nd inning. Him off. This will be Pedro's 100th pitch. If you're a manager, do you concern yourself? I mean, you don't want him to make 145 pitches, but with a big lead, I mean, do you want to let him just finish it out if you can, or are you really watching when Pedro gets near 120?
No, you're not paying much attention to it right now. Pedro can go 130, 135 pitches, always has. Any big strikeout pitcher does that. So right now they're looking for him to go probably 8 innings and then turn it over to Tom Gordon. And in order to go 8 innings, all he has to do is have 2 15-pitch innings. And that's certainly well within parameters of what he's doing. And Joe Kerrigan, there, the pitching coach, is definitely still counting them up, though. The only time, if he were to have a 25-pitch inning right here and get him into 125-pitch range, then they may get somebody up. The toughest thing to do, as you see that counter that every pitching coach has.
Payoff pitch to Manny Ramirez here in the 7th inning. We'll do it again. Remember last year in the opening series, best of 5 against the Yankees, embarrassed. They had a 5-run lead right in Game 1 in New York, were bombed out. Came fighting back, led by Jared Wright, winning Game 2 and winning that exciting 5-game series. Won't count this bunch out just because they're on the short end of a lopsided score against an ace in Game 1. Like 60 miles an hour because he throws so hard. Ramirez will set. Strikeout number 7.
Well, he went Powder River 3 straight pitches and buckles him up with that breaking ball, and that's what happens again when you throw 95 miles an hour. Again, the tight rotation on that curveball looks like it almost goes up before it comes down. Seeing all those elevated fastballs, and you just buckle up. That ball's thrown about 78 miles an hour. Sometimes there's nothing you can do. You just freeze on it. The 16th and hit only 195, 8 for 41 with 1 home run. Jim Thome was off to a career year, a possible MVP type season. Actually on a pace to drive in 130 runs and hit 50 home runs himself. Missed almost 7 weeks of the season.
Travis Fryman, and excuse me, swing move on into the photographer's booth.
That's the thing about these ball clubs in the American League, you know, and throughout baseball, the home run has been so prevalent this year, and what great thrills it's given us all. But suddenly 4 and 5 run leads don't mean anything anymore, because you have, you know, 3, 4, 5, sometimes 6 men in lineups that can hit the ball out of the ballpark. And, you know, you get guys that come at you and challenge you, and Pedro's doing exactly what he should do.
Well, now there's a new way to get aboard. Travis Fryman was 0-2 and says, all right, tell you what, I'll take a cut and run to first base and see what happens. Who cares if I miss the ball?
This is just a real hard slider. Eddie Burke tries to get there, just does not quite get there to it, doesn't get the glove down, goes right through the 5-hole, which is the hole right in the middle between the legs. And real hard biting slider. Here you see 109 pitches, good ball strike ratio.
Brian Giles up, Fryman at first. Give these fans credit. Here, know that Swindell and Corsi are up in the bullpen. Greg Swindell, the lefty, Jim Golf, Corsi, the righty. They know their team has gone a long ball, and they chip away, chip away, chip away. We'll see. 2-0 now. They count to Brian Giles, and I don't think it's a question of running out of gas.
Oh, he's not out of gas. He's just 7th inning. We're talking about the 4th time, 3rd time around the lineup for the Thunder in the middle of the lineup. And, you know, once a hitter has seen you 4 times, knowing that your stuff is generally better in the early part and the middle part of the game, becomes a little, things start swaying toward the hitter's game.
That's a fair ball over Vaughn down the right field line. Fryman will be in the 3rd base. Bragg up with it. They'll hold him there. The Indians as runners at 2nd and 3rd with just 1 out.
gets up, out over the plate. Giles, after striking out twice, just hits the ball right down the line, over the leaping Vaughn's head, gets down there in the corner, kicks out, perfect. Karam. And now runners on second and third. And
they're just looking for a single for Sandy Alomar to make it 8-5. All they want. Sandy doubled and scored on Lofton's home run in the 6th inning. And Jimmy Williams will make a visit. Find out exactly what's going on the mound. Don't need to take a blowout and make it exciting at this point if you're Boston.
I think he's just trying to settle things down here just for a minute. I don't believe that he'd make a move this quickly with Pedro.
Equivalent of a 20-second timeout just to slow the pace.
Yeah, just change it up just a little bit. Pedro early this year, I mentioned earlier in our telecast, when he got into trouble, he tended to rush and started to go into that fastball and getting away from pitching. And he started to throwing as opposed to pitching. There you see the slider right there, which is a great example of what he has to do. Don't go Powder River all the time with that fastball. Continue to pitch and you'll be all right. You get stuff out of these situations. And I know that game that I saw in Atlanta that we did early in the year, he got hammered 3 home runs in 1 inning. He just went fastball, 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 fastball.
There's another big-time pitch to Sandy Alomar. Now Pedro ahead 0-2.
Well, look at the break of this. Hattie sets up outside. This is just that's what you call a yellow hammer, baby.
Powder River, yellow hammer. Popped on a fastball on the outside of the plate. Hannaford, and Vaughn now calls him off. Mo makes the play, which makes it 2 out. Yeah, I hate to say it, big situation in an 8-3 game, but Alomar and now Vizquel, if neither come through, the game complexion stays the same. If either comes through, then you have a different look.
Well, it's big for a lot of reasons. You go to Jimmy Williams immediately and say, well, wait a minute. This guy gives up another base hit. Everybody in the world is going to be questioning whether or not you left him in there too long. As far as Pedro Martinez here, he get out of this, he comes out, he'll pitch the 8th inning, he'll be uplifted, his teammates will feel very good about it, and everything will swing right back to the Red Sox favor.
Vizquel has excelled, as you saw in these situations. Runners in scoring position with 2 outs.
That 5th run is huge. It keeps a grand slam from beating you or tying you.
High cheese to Vizquel, 1-1.
That's some cheese. You're right. But look at the determination here. He just rears back and lets this thing fly. That ball takes off. He's not only late, but he's underneath it as that fastball maintains its height. A lot of people say the fastball rises, but it doesn't rise. It just stays right there a little longer. It seems like it rises.
Way outside and high, 2-1.
That's just a changeup that he got way on the inside of.
Well, it's a fast changeup, too. That wasn't...
Yeah, threw it a little hard. Threw it a little hard. He usually throws his changeup around 81, 82. That was 85.
Omar taking on the 2-0. Time 2-1. Fastball right on the inside corner, and now Pedro trying to finish it up. Look for strikeout number 8. Vizquel, little looper, but doesn't have enough loft on it. Garcia Parra's there. 2 important base runners are stranded. Solo homer for Tommy, though, and it's 8-3 after 7.
Here's something you should never do with your eyeglasses unless they're made from Flexon. Even after bending and twisting, Flexon frames still look and fit great. Feel free to fall asleep in your glasses. Feel free to squeeze your Flexon frames. Feel free to kid around. Flexon frames. Durable, comfortable, light. Ask for them by name.
Let's look at our Liberty Mutual playoff performers here at the Jake. Mo Vaughn. First inning, 3-run homer. Pedro Martinez striking out the side in the 5th. Mo Vaughn, his second home run of the game, a 2-run shot. And Nomar Garciaparra's 3-run home run. And then after the Indians made it 8-3, Pedro stranding runners at second and third and getting congratulations. And that's our Liberty Mutual key plays of the game. He's been the key player of the game, Mo Vaughn, with the 5 ribbies. And now we go to the top of the 8th inning. Mo will hit 4th. The Red Sox get something going against the 3rd Cleveland pitcher, Steve Reed. No, he did not go to Joe Brinkman. Here's really a nice story. Reed pitched a ton with San Francisco, came over at the end of July in the trade that saw Jose Mesa, Al Mormon, and Sean Dunston go over to the Giants. Reed, though, had a blood clot cutting off the circulation in his fingers. Surgery on it just a short while ago, and here he is back throwing. Marvelous just to see him on the hill and doing well at all, let alone even on the roster.
Well, he loves to pitch, and he's never denied the baseball. He was in Colorado, one of the few people in Colorado that had success. Drops down there, coming down from Laredo somewhere, throwing that sinker and a slider that just keeps right on going.
Well, if you do in Colorado, it'd be more like runs down from
Pueblo.
Durango.
Tell you right.
He's a workhorse. He's really, really 50 appearances with the Giants, and that was through the month of July. However, he comes in and he walks Mike Benjamin, so that'll bring up Damon Buford. While we finish up here, have a little way to go in Houston. Jeff Bagwell, the Killer Bees, and Randy Johnson pitching at home against Kevin Brown and the Padres. That game coming up at 4 o'clock. If we're still going here, that game will begin on ESPN2, and then when we're done here at the Jake, we'll move over to John and Joe at the Dome on ESPN, the original. Read the roundhouse breaking ball to Damon Buford, and he throws a ball. So last thing Cleveland needs is just a bunch of balls being thrown. And not that 5 runs is unbelievably within striking distance, but they're starting to feel a little bit better about this game, right?
Yeah, they know they can score 5 runs. I don't know if they're going to do it today against Pedro. You know, they've come back many times, but you know, Pedro has good stuff. He's given up the home runs, and he's done exactly what he's supposed to do. He hasn't walked anybody, just comes right at everybody, and eventually somebody's going to catch up to one of those fastballs. But the big key there is 0 base on balls, and that's how you keep out of big innings. And you know, he may have pitched a little differently if it's 2-0, 3-0, but he knows he's got a cushion, and the key to him is getting 27 outs. He's got 6 more to get. It's going to be a tough task for Travis. That's 5 runs that.
1-2 now. They count to Buford just in case. A little action in the Red Sox bullpen. Swindell and Corsi were up 4. And, well,
I don't think
we
so.
lied.
Yeah. They were in action out there.
They were in action. Now they
saw them. We saw them. We go to look at them. They decide they're going to take a rest.
Oh, they're kind of camera shy.
Well, what happens is he's gotten loose. He's ready. He's ready to go, and all you have to do is make 3 or 4 tosses and you're in the game. You know, so he got heated up, and now he sits down waiting for his manager to tell him what to do next, depending on what Martinez does.
Jimmy Williams and the Red Sox trying to lay to rest 13 straight losses in postseason games, dating back to Game 5 of the 1986 World Series. 5-run lead. Got 6 outs to go.
the umpire there. This ball may have broke around the plate. Here's that slider. Starts on the inside part of the plate and then breaks. Yeah. Let's see what happens there. That ball's over the plate. The catcher's setting up so far outside, the umpire gets a kind of distorted look. There it is again, but look how far Alomar is setting up outside. And Grover is going to get a... But look at the catcher here, setting up way outside. The ball does go over the plate. Look how he reaches back. But the catcher's way outside. The umpire's already zoned into that area out there, and that's called a back door or a backup slider. And I still think that ball probably is going around the plate, and the catcher's catching it on the plate.
That one had no movement on it at all, so Buford already sees in the game because Darren Lewis got plunked in the 5th inning. Now he gets plunked.
Well, sometimes pitchers lose their composure just for a second or two, and those two pitches not called a strike. I got to believe that was a little bit of anger right there. Not intentionally hitting him, but not staying within himself and hammering Buford.
Jim Poole, also San Francisco this year, making his second tour of duty with the Indians. Lefty up in the pen. We remind you that this copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the Office of the Commissioner of Baseball, may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. The accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent.
Yeah, I was looking out here, Mike Hargrove wanting the umpire. He's spending a lot of time out there, and he just stayed out there Dale Scott came out there to him, and then he just let him know what was on his mind.
Heard of a purpose pitch? That was a purpose visit.
Yes, sir.
You never did that when you managed, did you, Ray?
I did it a time or two, but I'd get too strong and then get tossed out of the game.
Reed now delivers to John Valentin, who singled in the first, was aboard on Moe's 3-run homer. Walked in the 5th, was aboard on Garcia Perez's 3-run homer. Singled in the 6th, was aboard on Moe's 2-run homer. Cheer goes up for home plate umpire Dale Scott for the fans. Reed gets a strike ball, 1-1. These pitchers do look like frisbees coming in there, don't they?
Well, they are. They are frisbees. Frisbees just kind of don't break real sharply. They just kind of slide right through there.
Valentin is aboard for the 4th time tonight. I say tonight, it's getting there. I just saw the ball go into the shadows, but still right in the middle of the afternoon. And John Valentin, 4 times now. 3 hits and a walk, and here's that man, Mo Vaughn, and here's that man, Mike Hargrove, and here's this man, lefty Jim Poole, coming into the game to try to do something about Mo and keep him away from 3 home runs. The wheels turning, albeit slowly, here at Cleveland.
Okay, folks, what'll it be? Sweetheart.
A Pepsi, please.
We only got Coke.
Sarge, you fight for freedom?
Sure.
Freedom of choice?
Yep.
I lived my whole life believing in freedom. That everyone, man, woman, or child, is free to be who we want, live how we want, and choose what we want. No Pepsi? You might as well tell me there's no Santa Claus. Come on, Grandpa.
Where are we going now?
To a far better place.
I'm here, you're here, we're here. It's time to get back to the best part of the 60s. That's right, when McDonald's introduced the Big Mac. Now, when you buy a Big Mac or large or medium soft drink, you get a coupon for something groovy on your next visit. Who knows, you might even get a coupon for a 49-cent Big Mac or 18-cent fries.
2 all-beef patty, special sauce.
Where can you get back with Big Mac? Did somebody say McDonald's?
It's also... You change your oil every 3,000 miles, right? You don't, do you? You push it. Now you're so busy you try to squeeze another 1,000 miles out of your oil. Or more. Well, squeeze this. To do it yourself when you have the time. Reformulated Quaker State. Protection beyond 3,000 miles under any driving conditions. Anybody say insurance? It's been tested. And unlike that lazy uncle nobody really likes to talk about, it works. So go get some. Quaker State, sensible technology. What more do you need to know?
It is a test, not just of strength, but of the power of the mind. And if you complete the journey, you will be changed forever. The few, the proud, the Marines.
We're eighth inning at the Jake. They're getting set to get started in Houston. Derek Bell, Greg Vaughn, two big sluggers. Talking about it, but they'll be facing each other in a short while if our game is still going, and it looks like it will at 4 o'clock. The Padres and Astros, Kevin Brown and Randy Johnson begin on ESPN2, and then when we're done here, we'll move over to ESPN, the original. The fourth Cleveland pitcher is Jim Poole, lefty to face Mo Vaughn here in the top of the 8th inning, and while Poole comes on, it gives us a chance to give you a little historical perspective as you see his numbers with the Indians after coming over from the Giants, where really a year and a half the Giants are waiting for him to do something. He never did the job out in San Francisco, though Dusty Baker liked him a whole lot. He's had more success here in Cleveland. Mo Vaughn, first of all, his 2 home runs make him only the 5th Red Sox to have 2 home runs in a postseason game. And here it comes with the bases loaded. He's had a 3-run jack, a 2-run jack. And the infield in on the grass against Vaughn, and that's, you're a second baseman, Ray, and you're in the shadow.
Or the first baseman.
Oh, man.
Yeah, and Poole's just in here to face one hitter. You've got Garcia Parra and Stanley on deck. He's here to go as hard as he can for one hitter. And this is why a lot of managers want, as you look at the 7 grand slams that Big Mo has hit in his career, 303 with the bases loaded, the managers want to have 2 or even 3 left-handers in the bullpen so that they can bring them in just to get one hitter out.
Check swing. The record in any postseason game, series, AL or NLCS, divisional series, RBIs in one game, Edgar Martinez with 7. It happened in Game 4 of the Mariners against the Yankees in '95 when he hit a 3-run homer and then a grand slam. 7 is the record. Obviously, just a single will tie that mark. Anything more will break that mark. Chopped into the Red Sox dugout. They have a history when Poole was over here with Cleveland before.
Well, and I tell you, you can see the way he's pitching him. He's not going to throw him a fastball to hit. If he throws him a fastball, it's going to be a fastball that he shows down and away or up and in off the plate. I think he's going to just try to get him out with a breaking ball.
Mo knows that. That's a fair ball. Benjamin scores. Buford scores. 2-run double for Vaughn, and he's in the record books with 7 RBIs.
Yes, he is. What a day for Big Mo.
You just hop on my back, New England. I'll take you for a ride.
Curveball, looking for it, hammers it right inside the baseline. Again, after seeing 2 breaking balls, what happens with pitchers? They throw 2 great breaking balls, and their third one's not quite as good, just inside the bag, rocketed down that right field line. He has not hit a ball soft all day. Did hit a fly ball to left field, but what a day for Big Mo.
Even his check swings have been hard hit in this game. 7 RBIs for Mo Vaughn. Jim Poole out. 10-3 Boston. We'll be back.
Relax. You help stop zits before they start by using Clearasil every day. Clearasil helps prevent breakouts 2 times better than a leading clear pore treatment. Now get out of here.
Come closer when you dance with me.
Clearasil. Be comfortable in your skin.
My job is to compare products. And it's not often that I'm surprised. So when Head & Shoulders went up against the leading prescription brand, I expected the prescription to be better, but it isn't. A study proves Head & Shoulders is effective against dandruff. I found out there's a microscopic fungus associated with dandruff, and Head & Shoulders helps kill it. Helps stop flakes before they even start. Not even the expensive prescription works better. You may never see flakes again. I don't.
Why is America on America Online?
Email's great.
It's fast, it's responsive.
I just click and I'm there.
I can't even use a copy machine, and I can do it.
I love to get instant messages.
They have parental controls, and that's a good thing. We've spent over $1 billion to create a state-of-the-art high-speed network. And now with 56K, connections are faster than ever.
It's the internet, and a whole lot more.
No complicated setup. Just a simple phone line is all you need.
I sent my grandma my school picture.
There's no better way to keep in touch. America Online, so easy to use, no wonder it's #1.
Launch control, this is Houston. We are go for launch. Copy that, Houston.
A lot of furnaces only know one speed.
2, 1. Liftoff.
But American Standard makes gas furnaces with more efficient two-stage heating for a quieter, gentler flow of warm air. American Standard, built to a higher standard. For a limited time, you can get 6 months same as cash financing. Call your participating American Standard dealer today for more details.
The innocence of youth. We don't know anything about 13 straight postseason losses. We don't want to hear about it no mo. Curse of the Bambino? What are you talking about? That's a long time ago. Mo Vaughn, 3 for 5, 2 home runs, double, 7 RBIs, tied the postseason mark set by Edgar Martinez, we described to you. 10 total bases, which means the slugging percentage today is about 8 million. And a 10-3 Red Sox lead. Paul Shuey now in to pitch to Nomar Garcia-Parra. With 2 more runners in scoring position, John Valentin on third, who's, if he comes in, will be 4 runs scored for him. Vaughn at second base. My goodness. He was so calm before the game. You saw him in the interview there. Oh, Garcia-Parra hits it deep to left. Doesn't quite have the legs. However, scoring for the 4th time in the game is John Valentin. A sac fly, 4 ribbies for Garcia-Parra, 11-3 Boston. Home field advantage, Red Sox.
Right. That's sad, boy, the way this thing's set up, you can win. And it used to be even worse than that. How about when it was 2 and then 3?
That wasn't right. That's why Game
right.
5 is back here. Cleveland won a division. Boston did not, even though Boston had 3 more wins than Cleveland this year. Everybody agrees that's the way to go. Stunned crowd, to say the very least. Mike Stanley swings to this. More on Mo Vaughn. Told you about the Edgar Martinez. He's the 5th Red Sox to hit 2 postseason home runs in a game. Last time it happened, 1967. Yaz had 2 in Game 2. Rico Petrocelli had 2 in Game 6. In a great series, the Red Sox lost to the Cardinals in 7 games, 67 to Bob Gibson and company. The other 2 guys, you remember Larry Hooper, 1915, had 2 home runs. Harry Hooper, excuse me. We do remember Harry Hooper. I was winning Larry. And the Red Sox won that series in 1915. I know you watched it, right? They beat the Phillies 4 games to 1. And here's the one you remember. Patsy Dougherty, 1903, had 2 home runs in 1 game. And the Red Sox won that series against the Pirates. They had a pitcher on the team at the time by the name of Cy Young, who wasn't bad.
Yeah, I hit against Cy.
Home run, Harry Hooper, Patsy Dougherty, Carl Yastrzemski, Rico Petrocelli, Mo Vaughn. I'm not sure they know what to do here. Although they have come back. Yankees last year, down to the Orioles in a series, down to the Mariners in '95, 2 games to 1. These guys know how to do it.
No, they're not going to pack it up and go home. They're going to. Right. No, I know you're not.
They might pack it up and go home today.
Yeah, they probably can go ahead and pack it up today. I don't see miracles happening today.
In that kind of year.
It has been, though, hasn't it?
Oh, man. How do you get better than this? I really... I mean, I speak for everyone who's out there right now. What it's just a thank you to everybody in the game this year. It's been a year the likes of which we've rarely seen, maybe never seen. Certainly not with Big Mac with 70 and Sammy with 66. Yankees with 114 wins, a perfect game for David Wells. The streak ended by Cal Ripken, and Cubs make the playoffs, and the Red Sox make the playoffs, and Indians make the playoffs. The lost causes of baseball, all in the playoffs at the same time. I mean, that's just the opening paragraph. Oh, man. Gonzalez and Sosa with the RBIs. I mean, we haven't seen totals like this in 50 years. Mo Vaughn, what he did today, 7 RBIs in the postseason. I mean, I know that pales to 70 homers from McGuire, but yet another entry in the books. 4 guys with 50 homers, including the guy we saw a moment ago, Greg Vaughn, hit number 50 in a game that probably a lot of people missed because it was a Sunday night game in Arizona. So 4 guys with 50 or more home runs, never before.
So many things. Craig Biggio, the 50 stolen bases and 50 doubles, only second man this century.
Yep.
Since Tris Speaker.
A-Rod with 40-40.
Again.
Griff with 50-20. Barry Bonds 400-400. As your favorite disc jockey would say, the hits just keep on coming. Troy O'Leary grounded to Tomey, shooting over to cover, and that will do it. At Boston has hung another 3-spot, the lantern, in the Old North Church. Now is 11-3.
Hi, Oscar.
Hey, how's it going, champ? Oscar, you have so many friends. Yes, it's important for me to keep in touch with the people I care about. Me too. But my phone bill can get expensive. You should use 10-10-3-2-1. I've heard of it. With 10-10-3-2-1, I save a lot. 50% on every call over 20 minutes. 50%? That's big. It's easy. Just dial 10-10-3-2-1, then 1, and the number. I'll try it. Call your sister and tell her I said hi. Hey.
Who doesn't want to save 50%? At Uniroyal, in order to make a point about our new nail guard tires, we added a few to our test track. Nail guard tires, designed to seal 90% of tread punctures, instantly and permanently. Only from Uniroyal.
My cousin Al still swears he never gets enough to eat. So tonight we did the only thing we could. We took him back to the Olive Garden for more of their never-ending pasta bowl. Now they added a new pasta, rigatoni and spicy arrabbiata sauce. You pick any of the special pastas you like, and you get all the free refills you want, plus all the salad and breadsticks. The food keeps coming, and the fork keeps going until you say when for $6.95. Now, I'm not sure, but I think my cousin Al just said when. Are you done? Yes, I am. The Olive Garden. When you're here, your family.
The jobs of tomorrow are here. Thousands of them, waiting to be filled. But you have to know the fields they're in, and you have to have what it takes to master those fields. Because you can't get the jobs of tomorrow until you get the skills of today.
Start by calling ITT Technical Institute. We'll send you an informative brochure on tomorrow's careers and what it takes to get them. Call 1-800-942-0099.
College football Saturday.
Georgia and LSU are both thinking SEC title. It's a primetime showdown on the Bayou.
Georgia versus LSU at 7, Saturday on ESPN.
In Houston, the MVP in the National League 2 years ago, Ken Helmet Caminetti, third baseman extraordinaire for the Padres, one-time Astro. Leading the Padres and Stros into battle. First pitch at 4:07. And we'll start that on ESPN2. When we conclude here, we'll move quickly to John Miller and Joe Morgan, we promise, at the Dome. 11 runs, 12 hits for the Red Sox. 3 runs, 6 hits for the Indians. RBIs just coming from 2 Red Sox, Ray. As the new pitcher for Pedro Martinez is now Jim Golf Coursey. Appeared in 59 games this season. Pretty good job. Pretty good ERA for setup back.
Yeah, and Pedro ended up with 121 pitches. No need to get him out there in an 11-3 ball game. Give the bullpen a little bit of work. And Pedro called in the evening, and what a fine evening it was for him.
Lofton, Cora, Justice, the top of the order. Lofton is 2 for 3. Really the brightest spot in the Indian lineup. There haven't been many. for 3 and a home run. Breaks his pole, man. Breaks his bat, and the bat went back into the umpire, Dale Scott, and everybody stopped. Hit him in the shin guard, fortunately. I mean, Kenny really turned right around because that thing, that splinter, you don't have to tell you, Ray, that could really do some damage back.
Well, it's because he got the whole bat. You know, when you break the bat, a lot of times you break just part of it. Here you broke the whole thing. The only thing he has is those 4 inches he has in the handle. That hit him right in the chest protector.
Haven't seen that very often.
Usually that happens when you hit the ball right on the end of the bat. Just checking it out, saying that's not good word. I hit that ball right there on the sweet spot.
Wrong kind of ask for ash, darn it. Joey Cora 0 for 3. 7 ribbies for Vaughn, 4 for Garcia Parra. 2 guys of all the RBI. John Valentin scored 4 runs. Top 3 in the lineup have scored 9 runs. Padres-Houston series. Who do you like there, Ray?
Well, I like the Padres because of the fact that you could negate Caminetti and Joyner and win with those left-handed pitching and the big unit, and certainly Hampton and Wagner. I like the Astros.
You like them to go all the way, beat the Braves? A lot of people do. That's a tough call.
It's a tough call.
Well, we'll fight it out while we tell you that on ESPN2, Friday Night at the Fight premieres at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Witherspoon and Andrew Galata going a heavyweight bout from Poland. Classic fight footage, the latest news in boxing that begins this Friday night on ESPN2, Friday Night at the Fights at 8 o'clock Eastern Time.
You know, same thing goes for the Braves. If you get by the Padres and you turn Chipper Jones around and you get Klesko out of the lineup and Tucker out of the lineup, I think you make them a weaker ball club. I've said all along, the thing about the Houston Astros, it's not just their pitching. Offensively, they're leading the league in runs scored. They've got tremendous firepower from 1 to 8, the best batting order in, I think, all of baseball, including the Yankees. Speed and a bullpen now that's already was outstanding, but you add to that bullpen Lima and Bergman, and I just do not see a weakness in that ball club. Wherever I look, try to break it down, they're just extremely solid.
You're not quite sure, though, Houston and Atlanta. You like Houston's chances, though. You like
I do. I like Atlanta because of their depth of their pitching.
Well, Greg Maddux is your number 3 starter.
Right,
that's pretty good.
And that's the only reason that I even give Atlanta a chance.
Ripped and a fair ball by David Justice down the right field line. Bragg will hit 2 cushions there. A double bank shot by Justice and a double with 2 outs.
And let me clarify that very quickly. A chance meaning I think that Houston has a better ball club if you take the pitching away. You can't take the pitching away. You take Johnson and match him up against any of those big 3, Glavine and Maddux or Smoltz, and Johnson, I think, can come out on top of that. But the other 2, Houston doesn't have anybody to match up with him. Although Reynolds is solid, I still believe Glavine and Maddux gives them the edge pitching-wise. But if Johnson is so dominant, then I just think it's going to be a series that goes to the wire and a hard-fought series, and probably the best series of all of them that we have to look forward to.
Manny Ramirez against Jim Corsi, and that pitches in there for a strike. How about this? How about Greg Maddux for the first 4 months? I mean, he's shooing Cy Young. John Smoltz doesn't even pitch, what, first 6, 7 weeks? He's the number 1 starter. Oh, by the way, Tom Glavine won 20 games, probably won the Cy Young Award. We forgot he was on the staff. You know what I mean?
That's tough choices.
Mike Hargrove goes with Doc Gooden. Doc Gooden playing the role of Oral Hershiser here the last couple of years, the veteran Cy Young Award winner from the 80s, who now pitches with guile. He came on well. Of course, Doc, a totally different sort of pitcher than he was at that time. Teammate of yours, Ray. Now, Doc, obviously, Cleveland's in a bit of a pickle tomorrow. They need a pretty good performance out of Doc, because you don't know what's going to happen with Wakefield. Either great or he's slugged all over the yard. He doesn't know.
No, he doesn't. But this is the one thing that has kept Cleveland from being a great club. They've been a very good club, but they've yet to have a true number one guy that can go out there and shut you down year in and year out. Charles Nagy certainly has been a quality starter for them, but you know, Bartolo Colon, I thought early in the year was going to be that guy, but he's struggled of late. Certainly, they moved Burba to the bullpen. He won 15 games, but he's always been a number 3 starter. They just have always lacked a real number 1 or 2-hole guy.
So the Padres, the game you can see on ESPN2 until we're done here, come up with blanks against Randy Johnson in the top of the first in Houston. 2-2 to Manny Ramirez.
I don't think I'd like to hit against Jim Corsi. He throws everything at you, and I'm just sitting up here watching him throw. I flinch.
But plus, look at the way the shadows are, and of course, it's that type. I mean, the shadows are almost to the mound. So he's delivering in the sun, and you're in the shadows of the plate. That's really tough to pick up. But of course, he's sprinting off the mound like he's Ricky Henderson. Gets the punch out of Manny Ramirez. The Indians are down to 3 outs. We've played 8, 11-3 Red Sox.
Launch control, this is Houston. We are go for launch. Copy that, Houston.
A lot of furnaces only know one speed.
2, 1.
But American Standard makes gas furnaces with more efficient 2-stage heating for a quieter, gentler flow of warm air. American Standard, built to a higher standard. For a limited time, you can get 6 months same as cash financing. Call your participating American Standard dealer today for more details.
Plunger.
Hello.
Spud wrench.
Hello.
In my mind, Bart, the greeter parrot, would end up being as friendly and knowledgeable as our True Value salespeople.
Quarter-inch variable speed drill.
Hello.
In reality, he was, well, was friendly. Come on, Bart.
Hello.
Here in America, home means different things to different people. But we're pretty much agreed on what it means to own a home. It has something to do with stronger communities, safer streets, better schools, and the hopes and dreams that America was built on. So whatever home means, one thing's certain, it's a lot more than just 4 walls and a roof. For a free guide that can help you on the path to home ownership, call the Fannie Mae Foundation.
No, it's not a keyhole. I'm not looking through the doorway at someone. I'm looking through the on-net port of entry to a seamless global network. A network that will change the fortunes of countless companies and the lives of thousands of telecom managers and CIOs. I see them out there right now. They seem rather happy. On-net from MCI WorldCom.
Bob Stevens in Bristol. Down in the Astrodome, they are underway. Randy Johnson and Kevin Brown in the dome. Quilvio Veras grounds out to lead off the ball game. Then Tony Gwynn frozen by the left-hander. Scoreless. The game can be seen on ESPN2. Let's go back to the Jake.
All right, Bob, thank you very much. And another Cleveland pitcher here in the top of the 9th. And we're seeing a look at just about everybody in the bullpen. The lanky lefty, been around forever. Paul Orville Ossenmacher, and his fan brought his glove, and maybe, well, a lot of them hit out, that's for sure. Mo with 2 home runs, Garcia Parra with a home run, Lofton with a home run, Tomey with a home run. And it took it to the last inning till we had anything going. There were runs scored without long ball. Here's Ossenmacher's numbers. Good strikeout to innings pitch ratio, and he's reliable. He used to be really reliable for this team a few years ago. Fallen off a little bit, but as long as he can throw strikes and punch people out, he'll always have a job as a lefty, Ray.
Oh, he's left-handed. He can come in and throw the ball around the plate and throw a curveball. He'll have a job.
Runs on 12 hits for the Red Sox, who are 3 outs away from breaking a 13-game postseason losing streak dating back to 1986. Darren Bragg, Scott Hatteberg, Mike Benjamin, 7, 8, 9 here against Ossenmacher. run through it. Games 6 and 7 in the '86 World Series. 4 in a row to Oakland in '88. 4 in a row to Oakland in '90. 3 in a row to these Indians in '95. It's all, and the walls are about to come tumbling down. As a matter of fact, in the Cleveland series, those 3 games, the Red Sox scored 6 runs total. In the 4 games against Oakland in 1990, where Dave Stewart was immense and bested Roger twice, they scored a total of 4 runs. I mean, in this year of everything else in Major League Baseball, Cubs in a playoff, and they survived the Brant Brown gaffe and get the Dave Clark running under the baseline, and even the throw hitting Lance Johnson and the derriere on the way to, things are in the cards. You kind of knew Boston would win at least one and get rid of that pledge. You knew that. Maybe not quite to this degree, Ray, but you knew it had to happen. And in a hurry.
That's my MVP in the American League right there, buddy. Not yours, is it?
I don't know. You know what? Unlike you, I think it's a 3- or 4-way race, and I'm not trying to dodge it. I got to think about that, and we'll have that answer this week as we're on this series. Nomar, Mo, Juan Gonzalez, Bertie Williams, maybe. Certainly Junior Griffey with his numbers. Darren Erstad doesn't get hurt, and the results different out west. You look at him, although not by numbers. Be an interesting vote. Very interesting. One thing Assenmacher does not do is pitch like he's double parked outside the stadium.
Oh, he's in no hurry, is he?
No. Ball has never worked quickly. We don't have anybody on. And it's an 8-run difference here. Darren Bragg to left field. Brian Giles squeezes it, 1 out. Let's send it over to Clevelander, Bob Stevens.
Thanks, Chris. Down in the Dome, Randy Johnson, who threw a 12-strikeout, 6-hit complete game win against the Padres as a Mariner earlier this year. Smokes Greg Vaughn, 2 strikeouts in the first inning. No score. Astros coming up.
Well, so Mo's cousin, Greg, not as successful as Mo in his at least first at-bat this postseason. Well, Randy, we know what he was like at the Kingdome when he was on, put him inside at home. He was untouchable at Astrodome. We saw him last week, and he was not great, but he had one of the top 6 or 7 strikeout totals in this century this season.
You can say, people can say anything they want to say about pitchers, but he is the most dominant. He may not be the best, but he's the most dominant pitcher in the game when he's on. Forget everybody else.
Jim Wakefield, tomorrow's starter. I think he's going to come up pretty big, Ray. I wouldn't say win or lose, but I think he pitches a good game.
Swami, you're all over the place.
No, everything we've said has happened, maybe not to this degree. We thought Pedro would pitch well. I think Wakefield will pitch well. Do you agree? You don't know.
I have no idea.
I know momentum is as good as tomorrow's starting pitcher, but I think Wakefield pitches well.
I'm just going to come out and watch you.
Oh, we're all going to do that. And speaking of the act, speaking of history, more appearances than any pitcher ever. Dennis Eckersley, more appearances, 1071. It's his 24th season. Now I'm going to save this. No, I shouldn't save it for tomorrow. Remember we talked about walking to the park today? I mean, I know that there's that. He passed Hoyt Wilson. Okay. But do you know, of course, Eckersley began his career with the Cleveland Indians, and we'll talk more about Eckers as the series goes, because he's personally one of my all-time favorite players. Pitched 3 years here with Cleveland, including a no-hitter, then of course came over to Boston in the big trade for 78, where he won 20 games. Pitched to Boston until midway through the '84 season, when he became a member of the Chicago Cubs. He was a member of a Cub team that, of course, went into the playoffs against the Padres. The man for whom he was traded in 1984. Since we're talking Red Sox playoff futility, staunch Red Sox fans know this, but even good ones forgot. The Eck was traded for Bill Buckner. Bill Buckner. That's a foul ball. Chicago, Bill Buckner came to Boston. And now you have, as Paul Harvey would say, the rest of the story. Trent's a long time ago.
Boy, you just keep on talking about a long time ago. You make
Well, remember Carter for Sutcliffe with same in Cubs. While back at the ranch, Mike Benjamin's sideburns have grown during the game. The shadows creep down, so does Mike's sideburns. See, they're a little lower than they were in the first inning. That's what Mike is looking at now against Hassenmacher. Held on to by Sandy Alomar in a 1-2-3 inning eventually for Hassenmacher with a pair of Ks. Well, the Indians try to dig deep and come up with an 8 spot. We'll see.
I'm a winner! I'm the man!
As if changing your oil isn't exciting enough, you can now win big in Pennzoil's Under the Cap sweepstakes.
I'm a winner! I won!
Playing is easy.
I love you!
Next time you change your oil, just tap Under the Cap to see if you've won the $250,000 home grand prize or one of 10,000 VersaPack power tools or a $10,000 home workshop. Stop. Go, Pennzoil.
Trains now go 300 miles an hour. Mail, 3,000 miles a second. Athletes continually break records. So how come pain relief isn't faster? Introducing Advil Liquid Gels, the first and only pain reliever in a faster-acting liquid-filled capsule that's gentle on your stomach. On tough pain, Advil Liquid Gels are stronger and faster than extra-strength Tylenol. Headaches to muscle aches. New Advil Liquid Gels. Advanced medicine for pain. Just got faster.
The Seattle Seahawks head to Arrowhead for a battle with the Kansas City Chiefs. It's ESPN Sunday Night Football.
What is a Seahawk? Is it like a seagull? Is it a common animal on the West Coast?
Computer technology in the Seattle area may give the Seahawks a competitive advantage.
What? What are you talking about?
Computers, they may give the team secret strategies and such with data and feedback.
Ah, that's a bunch of bunk.
ESPN Sunday Night Football. The Seahawks against the Chiefs.
The Internet's the CB radio of the 90s.
Okay, folks, what'll it be?
A Pepsi, please.
We only got Coke.
Sarge, you fight for freedom?
Sure.
Freedom of choice?
Yep.
I lived my whole life believing in freedom, that everyone, man, woman, or child, is free to be who we want, live how we want, and choose what we want. No Pepsi? You might as well tell me there's no Santa Claus. Come on, Grandpa.
Where are we going now?
To a far better place.
Bob Stevens taking you to the Astrodome, where Craig Biggio leads off with a walk for the Astros. Billy Spires at the plate against Kevin Brown, and bang, 4, 6, 3. Won't take many fingers to count the runs in this one. They're scoreless in the bottom of the first.
All right, Bob, you're right. That game on ESPN2, we'll be going to that right here as soon as the Red Sox try to close out business with Jim Corsi against Jim Thome, Travis Farmer, and Brian Giles. With momentum being as good as tomorrow's starting pitcher, still a thunderous win by this for the Red Sox. What does that do for them? And, you know, seeing what their biggest players have come up the biggest, what does that do, Ray?
Well, it just sets the tone for the whole series. And
Mo will handle this one himself, one out in the Cleveland ninth.
Tomorrow, Doc has to come out, and the pressure is clearly on Cleveland. Doc has to come out and pitch really solidly. As we look at Tim Wakefield, and you asked me about Wakefield. Wakefield, as we mentioned before, is one of those guys that can frustrate you to death. He's got that knuckleball working. You know, it's just a really tough day for you. But if he makes a mistake or two, all he has to do is hang one or two of them things after walking somebody, and it's all of a sudden 4 or 5 nothing, as you saw today. But I really believe that Doc is going to come out tomorrow and put together a good effort. Grover said that he's been their best pitcher the last month. So that's why he's getting the start, and Verba went to the bullpen.
Long afternoon for Mike Hargrove and the Indians. Jackson Brown once said, when the morning light comes creeping in, get up and do it again. Tomorrow at 1 o'clock, same bat time, same bat channel. Baseball tonight preceding us at 12:30. Ravi and Peter and all the gang and all the people behind the scenes at baseball tonight. I mean, these are guys that you know, Ray. We've worked with them. They love baseball, and it's a pleasure for them and us to bring it to you. This is a culmination of this week is not the culmination, but is a high point, that's for sure, for all of us at ESPN.
Well, you'll never see a group that loves doing what they do more than that group and work hard at it.
And the captain, the coordinating producer, Schneidley Whiplash, Jeff Schneider.
Yep.
There'll be better days for Omar and the Indians. It's kind of what they're thinking right now. Let's move this along. Let's get to dinner. Come back here and try to tee off on the knuckleballer Wakefield tomorrow. And Travis Fryman strikes out the Indians down to the last out. Here's Bob Stevens.
Thanks, Boomer. Back to the Dome. Derek Bell, 1 for 11 with 6 strikeouts in his career against Kevin Brown. Add 1 to all those numbers. He's 1 for 12. No score at the end of 1.
You know what? Kevin Brown, because that's the series with 2 off days. Game 2 is Thursday. Game 3 is Saturday. Kevin Brown could pitch 1 and 3 in that series very easily, depending on how that goes. Don't be surprised if you see that.
Well, wouldn't that work for Randy Johnson also?
Could. That's it. Brian Giles is grounded out. The Red Sox, with 7 RBIs, 2 homers for Moblon, have ended a 13-game postseason losing streak. For Ray Knight, I'm Chris Berman. Thanks for watching here in Cleveland. The final score, 11-3 Boston over Cleveland. San Diego and Houston coming up with John Miller and Joe Morgan. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports.